I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count after 37.
Oh!
The ball gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Swack.
Swack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
We're deeper into the Midwest after a short track brawl in Iowa last Friday night. The action is back with William Britton adding a second win to his season. Presented by Thrustmaster, Butt Kicker, and Carpe Diem Creations, it's VRX World Cup. Welcome into V-Speed. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and joined alongside me tonight is esports analyst Justin Prince and VRX driver Stephen Brown.
Yes, indeed. It's the Addison Bridges 225 tonight. And tonight, we reach the midway point of the season. This race could be a deciding factor for the points, since we only have 2 different winners this season. Richard Hurst has maintained the points lead over the rest of the field throughout the campaign. But after this week, a road course comes back to VRX and could change our leader if said driver has a bad race tonight. And looking at Kansas Speedway, the history here of motorsport has been intriguing, to say the very least. 100,000 square feet is the hotel and casino overlooking the racetrack here. 72,000 seats. It's been open since the early 2000s here in the heart of Kansas City. But keep in mind, this is a racetrack known for being a bit more unique at the mile-and-a-half side of the spectrum. You're talking about a racetrack where the top and bottom lines have worked over the years, whether it's been in NASCAR, IndyCar, ARCA Menards competition, or in the case of the infield and Grand Am, where we've seen drivers go inside the racetrack as part of that road course there. But these 17 degrees of banking could see a lot of intense action as the racing progresses here tonight, Bradley.
And you got about 20 degrees as you work your way up the racetrack. And to the extreme points of this race, you talked about the outside line and how it's worked in the past. We almost drove this place like Darlington at one point on the sim, and it was known to burn up the tires, really use up your race car. And by lap 25, a lot of guys, you can see it right here on the backstretch, actually, as we were talking about practice and qualifying. There's a lot of stripes on that backstretch wall.
And in turn, I think it's important to bring in Mr. Stephen Brown, who has experience with these drivers here, to talk about this a little bit. How is it when it comes to this car tonight? First of all, when it comes to racing at Kansas, but second, with these drivers, how do you feel this will play into things here, Mr. Brown?
How I believe that most of this will play into these drivers, Justin, is that these cars are very, very touchy on these corners. Like you said, with the banking, as soon as the drivers get into packed racing, if you take a little bit of air off either corner of the right side or even the left side of the car, it can send these cars right round and cause a little bit of a mayhem into these corners, which most of these drivers are trying to focus on here in practice, trying to practice up doing packed racing where they can maintain their speed, but yet still get that push off the corners onto the back stretch or even onto the front stretch.
And so with that in mind here, we talked a little bit already about the championship a little bit. Let's talk about that a bit more in depth here, why don't we? Because it's been the type of campaign so far for the drivers. We've seen a lot of back and forth. All that while these competitors get ready for a busy night on the docket. Richard Hurst, 6 points up over Chris Hodges. Then you have James Wagoner in third. William Brendan's got a couple wins so far, but is 13 points back. Casey Ellis inside the top five. Hennings, Pillar, Logan Rhodes, and Chris Phillips within about 40 points so far around the midway point of the season here. It's touch back to you, Stephen. Your thoughts on, since you've raced against these competitors, and especially with Richard Hurst and your team experience, any surprises you've seen for the championship from your perspective so far this season?
Not a whole lot of surprises, Justin. Richard is one driver to try and beat this season for the VRX World Cup. He has been astonishing around these tracks, but honestly, talking with these drivers earlier on in the day, Benjamin Richards was saying that he is very confident this is his favorite track. He most would consider this as his home track. He loves this track. He knows the ins and outs of this track on how to run the lines, both top and bottom. Honestly, I would have to say Benjamin will be a very big contender for Richard Hurst tonight.
With that being said, as these drivers prepare for tonight's action, you see how much time's left before the drivers get themselves to the gridding period up on the top ticker. Let's talk about the race analysis, Bradley, because tonight you have 150 laps. You only have a couple tire sets available, really. What are you expecting here for Kansas as we take a look at those details?
Well, no different than what we saw at Iowa, where guys would pick and choose. We saw the win last week from William Britton. He snuck his way up there into the top three, and once you tell William there's a chance, he's going to take full advantage of it. And I think we're going to see that tonight. With the confidence here, we're talking about drivers that may win. Steven's already announcing Benjamin Richards, but really we have no idea up here because it could come down to just playing that strategy like you saw last week. And with just 3 tire sets, that strategy is going to come into play. 2 green-white checkers here tonight, 1 fast repair, and of course the iRacing fix setup here in the VRX World Cup. 45 miles per hour on pit road, not as much of a factor as it was last week when we were trying to get on at Iowa Speedway. Very difficult pit road. You could chalk that up to, we had very difficult pit roads pretty much all week here on V-Speed and past events, and it's going to be difficult all night. You have to be careful. If I'm going to say one driver that I've been impressed with and has been consistent, we looked at him in the points, Chris Hodges. I think he's the guy that if Hurst or Britton have an off week, he's going to be right there to capitalize.
100% on that, Bradley. Chris Hodges actually took the pole here in qualifying. So, going off of what you said, it could be a factor for Chris Hodges to even try and beat Richard Hurst tonight here at Kansas. And looking at him here in the warm up, he is running both the high line and the low side of the track, trying to get a little bit of a feel of the car as it tries to grab on the corners. And I believe he does have a little bit of a capability of trying to beat Richard Hurst tonight.
So with that in mind, as we have under 3 minutes to go here before these drivers get themselves really situated and ready to go here, real quickly when it comes to things here, Bradley, what are your keys to victory? First of all, then you, Steven.
Well, Steven touched on it, being able to run multiple lines, because you're not always going to get to pass that guy in front of you where you want to. You might meet him in a bad part of the racetrack, and there might be a situation where they're driving your line, so you have to adapt and run a different place. Really and truly, it comes down to how adaptable are you as a driver. You have 225 miles to make a mistake here tonight. It's who makes the least amount of those mistakes and how they can do their green flag pit stops combined with how many lines they can run. There's a lot of factors here tonight in the Midwest.
I believe most of the strategy here tonight is going to be tire strategy. Try to save those tires. Where most of these drivers are wanting to practice is on the low line, because that is where you can save most of your tires. If you're running on the high line or even the middle line, it can fry up those tires a little bit and cause these cars to get loose early on in the run, where they won't be able to keep up with most of these drivers who are saving their tires, saving their fuel, so that way they can go for in the long run in case there's a late caution during these green flag runs. That way they can keep pushing forward and possibly even take the lead.
So as the cars get themselves ready to go in, try and situate themselves here for tonight's action, as talked about, final warm-ups are currently underway when it comes to this field. In turn, we have a massive field of competitors. More than 30 drivers tonight entered this evening's action as we get set to go, racing once more from Kansas. Keep in mind that one thing that did pop up for the Addison Bridges 225 and the entry before today's race, there was some conversation regarding Iowa. Remember, there was some issues towards the end of that respective race, but in the end, race control did deem the finishing order for that race to be official. So, the points still carry over from Iowa for those who had any questions in regards to what may have happened at Iowa Speedway after what was a crazy race, and which was a race where only a couple drivers essentially finished on the lead lap. And that in turn means a lot of pressure for some drivers. Keep in mind, Richard Hurst is the only driver 3 races in with 3 top 5s. And we're about to see how he and many more fare out. You see him right now in position 13 in the warm-up alone. With that being said, the warm-up period is coming to a close here. Lots of drivers testing out the high line to make sure if they're going to be able to run the line, or if they're going to lose all their fenders running the wall. The drivers now getting the command to make their way to the starting grid for tonight's festivities, which means it's time to look at the Carpe Diem Pole Award, presented to the fastest driver in qualifying for each event, with prizes donated for the season, including glassware and keychains. We'd like to thank Carpe Diem for its support this season in presenting the drivers a variety of personalized items in the VRX World Cup. If it's a moment with a loved one or a memory captured throughout life, find the perfect custom item to match it from Carpe Diem Creations. As you see at the bottom of your screen, it's Christopher Hodges again, who will start towards the front today. He's been quick in qualifying all season. The 34 car will start things off here tonight from Kansas City. Let's take a look at the full grid in turn. Hodges setting the pole time at 30.214 over Bill Daniels. Daniels has also been lightning quick this season, looking for a little bit of luck here tonight. Row number 2, it's Chris Phillips alongside Kevin Mulcahy, the 818. He was one of the drivers with some interesting strategy from Iowa previous. Next race, or next grouping, Dustin Buck, Richard Hurst. Remember, he was amongst those who were able to get lucky at Iowa. He starts in the top 6. Then, the next row number 4, features James Wagoner, Brian Headings. He'll start in the 8th position tonight. Rounding out your top 10 starting positions here from Kansas, Casey Ellis, Steven Aguilar. Keep an eye on him. He rounds out your top 10, Bradley.
11th position belongs to Logan Rhodes with Jeff Scott. And 13th position, Jeffrey Hunter. And a shout out there to, I believe it was Marianne. I want to make sure I'm going to double check that I got that correctly. So shout out to her. I know she's out here watching here tonight. And yes, I think I got that name correctly. Marianne, welcome into the broadcast here on V-Speed. And Michael Howardson's going to start in 14th position. 15th spot will be Jeffrey. Oh, I apologize. I hit the wrong button there. But we have Ricky Evans, Benjamin Richards, 15th and 16th. 17th, Logan Waterin with Jimmy Sox in 18th. 19th position, Paul McDonald and William Britton. Two-time winner of the season, 20th position.
21st position going the way of Greg Spiker, PJ Cox alongside. Jared Epker, he got bounced around a ton last time out. He's in the next row of cars that you'll see flip over. That's alongside Joseph Vecchione. Mike Chivers starts off in the 25th position for today's action as you see the rest of the drivers scroll on through. Luke Rakowski should say, in 26th position. John Hudson, David Collins towards the back. Same for Aronson and Edward Vidler. The last drivers in the field today, Mama T, Teresa Spiker, Greg Pillar deep in the field, and Shane Gunter's 22 car. So with that being said, we already touched upon the keys to victory potentially here tonight. The drivers are already in the midst of pacing. Your final thoughts here before we get going here, Steven.
My final thoughts is just be patient. This track is very unpredictable, especially with that banking. These drivers, all they need to do is be patient, save their tires, save their fuel, and they can be able to go a long way.
But all set to go racing from Kansas Speedway. Kansas City has had some interesting races. It's had some interesting moments when it comes to virtual racing. And in turn, as they put the lights on top of the pace car one more time here, it's going to be potentially very intriguing. Dusk to darkness, the current listing for today. And so as we go around one more time behind the pace car here, Bradley, let's touch upon the potential here of the way this could break down with the tire stints. There's not a lot of tires available in the pits. And keep in mind, Kansas is a racetrack where it's hard to get the mileage to most mile and a halves, where at a full tank capacity, you can go up to 66. At a full tank capacity at Kansas, you only get about 59. And with the fuel restrictions usually in place for this series, that can make it even more difficult tonight.
Yeah, you're really going to have to factor that in, and you take all of the cautions that could happen. You've got drivers that will be starting in the back that might take their tires early or skip a pit stop to save it and get track position. That kind of was the recipe for what happened at Iowa, so we'll have to wait and see if anybody tries that. We've got Hodges up here. It's kind of deja vu as far as VRX goes for week number 4. Midway point of the season as we get set to bring you flag-to-flag coverage here on V-Speed. The Addison Bridges 225 about to be underway, and that pace car is going to make the left-hand turn for the first time tonight. 2 times speed. So we will transition into that darkness very soon as this track will cool off, and we'll see who can do multi-line racing. Into the Geico restart zone for the first time tonight. Hodges going to lead him into turn 1. Green flag is out, and we're underway for the VRX World Cup week number 4.
Several drivers sliding to the heart of the pack as the battle for the lead swaps Chris Phillips to the point as the caution comes out. The 10 car goes around. That's Vecchione. That was in the 20s. When you have cars on the apron entering turn 3, it's a bad sign.
The 10 car, I don't know exactly what happened to him, but we saw a little action down the backstretch. Somebody clipped the wall and they ended up going 3 wide. Someone had to check up and didn't quite make it. So the in and out number 10 in and out of this top 20 as we go back on the replay to figure it out.
See the replay machine. I'll point to you, Steven, on this one. Talk us through what you may have seen, but better yet, what may have happened here to cause all this on lap 1, turn 3.
Honestly, I think it's just being a little too aggressive going into the back stretch. You did see that he did get a pretty big run off the corner, trying to squeeze it 3 wide. And I guess it just happened to be not having the situational awareness between the drivers around him. And
we saw
honestly,
the one car lose it there for a second, Steven. Somebody brushed that apron and came back up into the 1.
yeah, it looked like it. I'm not entirely sure which number it was that came down onto the apron into the corner. It looks like it's going to be Logan Watter. Probably as he was trying to make his way down into the corner to try to get his little bit of speed going into it, just overestimated it, tapped the corner of the turn, and just turned that car around, causing him to kick loose. He tried to save it, but it was a little too late for him.
Already, it's a pit stop. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just about to say the exact thing here with this, and a lot of those drivers involved having to get some damage repair, including Tyler Malati and Greg Pillar. So about 26 on back coming down to pit lane here, and don't expect this to play too much into the strategy side of things, but it does set the tone, doesn't it?
Well, you group these guys back up, and we had to change for the lead. Hodges, who struggled last week on all these restarts, he came away with a 3rd place finish, but really and truly, he kind of had one stolen away from him. Britton hadn't been in the top 5 really at all that night. He was actually not doing very well, considering he's been a top 5 driver, qualifying and race-wise, and he even said it in his post-race. I did not feel confident. I did not feel like I had the speed, but we found ourselves up here at the top at the end of the race. Now we've got kind of like the same scenario. It's, again, deja vu. We've been here before. Do we have that long green flag run, though, in between? Because we had one of those at Iowa.
Let's find out what the lights are already on top of the on-racing pace car. Chris Phillips is able to take advantage of the time of the caution flag, take the lead. Phillips gained 12 spots in the point standings last time out, keep in mind, with his top 3 run. And it's put him in a bit in the conversation despite missing a race. He's the highest up by far, by the way, on those who have raced in less than 3 events so far. Not bad to already be 2 for 2 in top 5s on the season coming in. We'll see how he controls the restart with Hodges, Daniels, and Buck inside the top 4. Our racing pace car about to drop off. Let's try this again, shall we? VRX World Cup once again getting set to get back underway. Barney ready at the flag stand. Green, green, green. Let's go back to racing.
They settled down a little bit. That was a great start there for the 6 car. He pulled away half a second. I mean, he's reeled back in a little bit here by Daniels, but Hodges falls back to 3rd already down the backstretch.
In turn, that top 3 able to settle down pretty quickly here. Already a lot of drivers you've seen in the backdrop getting very dicey with the apron. In fact, look at William Brennan. He's starting to play near ping pong in the heart of the field.
There's a little bounce there from Ricky Evans as they came off of turn 4 and now peaking 3 wide. As they come off of turn 2, I'd have to say that these guys are still very aggressive. There's Logan Rhodes, the 7 car, leading this group. And all the way up to the outside, it looks like the 21 of Hurst trying to get out of this.
Ricky Evans got a little loose coming off of turn 4 a little bit, but he did manage to save it as the 64 kicks loose and drops down into the dogleg coming up to the front stripe.
Attack to the wall, in fact, there for the 21 machine. All that's while Hodges and Daniels both leapfrog the 6 machine down the back straightaway. And the draft effect with the high downforce, low horsepower package really coming into play here. They're trying to snake down these straightaways as they start to sort themselves mid-pack, all running near contact to the walls, as you see from the heart of the pack.
We're right on board here with the 35 of Casey Ellis. He's been trying to get around, I believe is the 38 of Jeff Scott in front of him. They're really close to this wall. They're running out of racetrack and only 8 laps in. I would be dialing it back right now.
There's the big bobble from the 7.
There it
That's
is.
Rhodes, and there they
In
go.
trouble. There it is.
No caution. There it is. Caution flag is out. 4 or 5 cars involved at least. Jeff Scott. There goes Ellis and several more getting collected around the start and finish line. And who knew Kansas would be more wild than Iowa?
I don't know, man. There's so much room and there's so many lines, but I'd have to say these guys are being very aggressive very early. And unfortunately, it looks like the 38 car got the worst end of that. Let's go back on the replay. We saw the 3 wide starting into the turn 4.
And keep in mind, not sure how much you could say to this, Steven. These drivers were not looking comfortable through 3 and 4 in the first place.
100%. Based on this track, on the track temp, they did say that the track is a little slippery coming into practice. But as the track starts to cool down, they will start to find that grip going into these corners. And on this wreck, it just seemed like somebody was just being a little too impatient, a little too wobbly, and it ultimately just ended badly for the 38 it just got.
A little mistake there by Rhodes as well. He gets loose going into 3, so you can see him checking up pretty heavy, but these guys did not lift. It's horse in the nose in there. Hennings kind of just took advantage of these guys checking up, and I think he ran into 4 or 5 different cars, almost gets plowed there by the 0-1. It got spicy very quick there.
Turn, it looks like Epker might be a Mutzel's already out. He's already lost a lap from all that. Yeah, Teresa Spiker and many more who've already gone back down to the pit lane. Some drivers as much as near 2 minutes worth of damage from that contact. William Britton, he elected to come down, it looks like, and top off on fuel. 4 tires and fuel. David Collins, a lot of others. Quick 2 to 3 second top offs there and or fast repairs being taken. So just like that, about half the field on one strat, half the field on another. And we're only 10 laps in.
And like I said at the beginning, patience is key at this track because, as you can see, this track is very unpredictable to these drivers, especially when coming off the corners and coming onto the front stretch. The car is very loose going onto the stretches, and none of these drivers have none of that downforce that these cars can produce to help them keep the car tight and keep it straight.
Lights are still on top of the iRacing pace car, keep in mind. And as all this has gone on, Hodges and Daniels able to quickly get by the 6 machine. Being able to try and break a bit of the trap might be somewhat critical, but clean air could still very well be key, Bradley. It looks like Hodges and Daniels seem a bit more comfortable in the short run.
And it makes a huge difference when you enter the corner. You can drive your line and get that exit that you want. The long sweeping 3 and 4 at this racetrack makes for a single car groove on the exit. And by saying that, I mean, if you're side by side, you have to change your line entirely from the entrance of the corner, or you're not making it out the other side. As we see a little connection issue there with the 34, but there's been a multitude of guys that have gotten loose because they were on the inside of somebody, didn't practice running that bottom.
And like I said, oh my bad, go ahead, Justin.
I was about to say 1 to go, but I think you had a point involving what, in terms of the racing we expect to see in a moment.
And like going off that with what I said with how these cars are loose coming off the corners, especially with these packed racing, with how these cars were designed. If you take even a simplest, a little bit amount of air off the corner of these cars, they, like I said, they will just turn the car around, and there's nothing really these drivers can do about it to try and prevent it, unless you have a little bit of dirt track racing experience in your belt or in your toolkit. You could probably save that car off the turn.
I'm ready to get back underway here. Hodges, Daniels, Phillips amongst the top three now. You also have Buck, Aguilar, Hennings in your top six. What did I say about Steven Aguilar? Expecting him to come to the field. This is one of his better tracks after all. Usually in a Grand National Soccer Xfinity Series car. Keep an eye on him inside. 3. Pace car is off. Hodges in control this time. A couple drivers already thinking about that run to the line. Green, green, green. Back underway. They thought about going 3 line. Instead, they keep it 2 wide, as they should, before the corner, to the point where they nearly hit the wall doing so.
Trying to give a little too much room, and Daniels almost found it on the entrance of 1. But as they come off of turn 2, settles down. Now we have the 6 car back up to second place. A lot of scattering around back here from second place on back, really. 3 wide through the middle, and 3 and 4, and that's Hennings in the middle.
It's gonna last this time.
Oh!
Not again.
Will he save it? Will he save it?
No.
No.
Big hit to the
Crosses
outside
back
wall
out.
there.
Another caution, our
Michael
third already.
Hamilton.
And there was no saving that by the time he made the bobble back.
Man, I mean, well, I don't think we have to go back very far, but I think that starts with the 3 wide and the aggression again. Hennings takes it 3 wide into 3 and 4, but actually the 52 of Howerton dove it down to the inside, so that's not entirely on Hennings, but the end of it is Hennings comes down and just barely bobbles into the 52. Let's get it from a drone camera, I think.
Again, Howerton, you would think, has that prerogative to be able to go down there. It's just when, if anybody makes a mistake 3 wide when it's a bit tight like that, I think that's when we see the big incidents like that, Steven.
Yeah, with the 3 wide situation, not a lot of these drivers are comfortable with 3 wide racing. Here at Kansas, 3 wide racing is not that common. A lot of these drivers tend to be a little bit more patient, but with this field, I'm just seeing that they're being very aggressive, being very impatient, and all they're wanting to do is try to get up front, try to get into that position where they won't have to deal with the wrecks that will happen from 10th on back.
Marty currently making sure the drivers know that it's 2 to go till the restart once again. We've already lost Epker due to damage. 1 lap down is Paul McDonald. As a result of some of the damage, Howerton came down for more repairs just now. And at least the top 14 are yet to pit in this race at all. And already, 58's looking like he's getting a little bit bored, but also thinking fuel mileage if they're already on the apron like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one strategy to save. You can go down there the shortest way around the racetrack, down there on the level. You can use the turns to kind of coast down and get your speed up. The Hooters 58 has been up here in the top 5 several times this season. Not so good at Iowa, where he got into some trouble. We'll have to wait and see. But strategy's already coming into play, and everybody wants to beat that 34 car.
And looking at Steve Aguilar, he is riding around that apron. And some would say that even the apron could even help cool down these tires. So that way they have a little bit more grip going into these corners to where they could possibly save these tires to have them on the long run.
Well, we have a chance here. We're going to move Steven Aguilar into the broadcast booth. That's number 8 of Steven. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Steven, we're seeing you here at one of the tracks that you favor. I know it hasn't gotten off to the start that you predicted, but if we get some green flag racing in, how likely is it that we see the 8 car up in the front?
We will be in the front, 100% guaranteed if it goes green. Without a doubt, I'm
Without a
going
doubt.
all out. Yes,
listen
sir.
To that, listen to that confidence here in the 8 car.
Absolutely.
you've been confident all season long, and I know things haven't played out to the way that you predicted it, but here tonight, you've been able to avoid a lot of the carnage. I know some aggressive driving here early, but what's it going to take to get it done?
Well, consistent. I'm trying to be patient, but I'm trying to go for the Triple Crown. Hopefully, if it goes green, yes, we'll have a chance. But if it's going to be caution fest, it's going to be wherever we end up. It's going to be where we end up.
Well,
But
I
hopefully,
mean,
I have confidence on these drivers, and but I will promise you, I'm gonna put on a show.
the lights are out on the pace car as we get set to double back up. Steven, thank you for your time, and we'll maybe get to see you in that podium, or hopefully in victory lane.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you.
Steven Aguilar in the number 8 Adidas Chevrolet. Now, Justin, we talked about it there. We had some racing at Michigan. This is starting to kind of make me wonder, because we cleaned it up tremendously. It was actually Auto Club. I apologize. We saw a crazy race, and then the next week they cleaned it up, and we had an excellent drive. So, what are you saying right now if you're race control?
I'm saying this is a track that usually trends green flag runs. I'm surprised we're not at least nearly a third of the way done. I think if I'm race control, I'm saying, hey guys, clean it up, please. We don't want to end up parking cars here. This is a track where you should be able to drive green and clean.
Yeah.
And I think that might be, I think Kai Shepard and company are having a fun ball with the amount of cautions. Not even 20 laps in. Let's see how long this run goes, because Christopher Hodges has led most of the way. He's back on the loud pedal.
And much better restarts than we saw in Iowa. He gets out to a big jump there. 2x2 for second through 5th position. There's a jump down to the bottom by, it looks like Dustin. Oh, Aguilar down to the bottom. Don't know if he had some help. But sideways there by Dustin Buck into 3.
They're still trying to wreck and slide at this point. Hunter makes it 3 wide. And expect drivers, once the tires to burn away, to maybe not use that apron so much. It is a way to gain time as they lean each other again.
That was Rhodes in the 7, and he's had a tough time already tonight. Now a battle for the lead up front here. The 6 car had a heck of a run, and the 28 goes around into the 58 of Buck, and Aguilar is involved. The 21 of Hurst, the 5, the 1. They're still wrecking in 3 and 4.
Well, that message about to get very loud from that. Caution flag out again. And that's about a third of the field in it, including several of your front runners. Just could see it coming yet again. Steven, the aggression levels are high. It seemed like from the onset, they got high from that restart.
They really did. Honestly, this is about the most aggressive racing that I've ever seen here at Kansas Speedway, being that a lot of these drivers really were looking forward to green flag runs, running their strategies, and I hope they can be able to clean it up before we can even get down to where it's less than 20 laps in.
I don't know if you could tell they're Bradley or not, but was there a bobble on that, or was that just the air grabbing Aguilar?
I don't know. It looked like maybe a little bit of both, but we'll go back on board here in the gyro camera. I mean, he's turning left. He's trying to keep it off of the 28. If we go back on the blimp camera and look at it from a high perspective, there was plenty of room above that 28 car that I don't know if he was just trying to run him out of track in the entrance of 3, or if he thought he had a run on the 6 car. I don't really know.
Had to be the run on the 6 car. A few drivers getting slammed by the air, then everybody piles on in. And it's a quick question here. How difficult is it in the heart of the pack to see what's happening this quickly at a 1.5 miles like this, Steven?
It is pretty difficult, especially on the right side of these cars, because these drivers do rely on the left side because they can just look in their driver's side window, just past their window net, where they can see drivers behind them, including that rear view mirror. But as soon as they get onto the right side of the car, you really don't know what you're going to expect from these other drivers going in on your right side. They could be coming down on you. You won't even know about it.
A lot of hard contact there, as to be expected. Aguilar Munstle's off track from that, by the way. It looks like the contact may have been so hard it might have knocked the steering loose. So that confidence lasted all of 2 laps.
I'm sorry about that, the curse of the camera. That's what I would put that on. I apologize to Steven and Jeffrey Hunter involved in that as well. We've almost had all these drivers come down pit road, Justin, where they haven't really had to do anything other than repair damage.
Or in a couple of the cases, top off. Eventually, it's going to be to where my questions, and at least in the question I'm not sure it's going to play into this, Steven, is we've turned so many caution laps, we might not have worried as much on the fuel at this rate we're going.
No, not really. It's just going to be a tire mileage race, really, because these drivers are going to try to stay out as much as they can and not waste none of their time in the pit lane just to go and get tires. That way they can keep their track position. If they can just go into the pits, get a splash of fuel, this probably won't be a fuel mileage run.
Now, the interesting to note, Casey Ellis, the last one to take tires and without damage repair, is 13th. Greg Pillar, he had a 20-second stop just about. He's in 10th position. Paul McDonald, he's come back from a lap down to 17th already. And most of the others have here recently have already had 4 pit stops already, or have had to get 43, 44 seconds repairs done. So strategy roulette coming up pretty big, Bradley. Eventually, we're going to run out of roulette tables.
Well, the casino here in the infield, I'm sure they have plenty of them right now, but these guys are gambling with, just position, and they need to gamble with how far can I drive this set. Right now, my faith is in the guys that are up front here because they're avoiding the wrecks and they're not part of things. But if you look from 7th place on back, it is organized chaos. And I look for them to calm down, maybe get a green flag run in here and see what they're capable of 7-8 laps from now, because it's really easy to see that car beside you and want that spot. But if you can let him just drive away from you for a couple laps and reel him back in, I think if everyone has that mentality, we'll settle in and have some green flag racing.
100%, Bradley. And as they come off turn 4 with the pace car lights out, and as it dives down into the pit road, as these drivers go ahead and make their way to the Geico restart zone, with Chris Hodges already off to a good start, honestly. And as they take the green flag, Chris Hodges gets a good run off the start.
Clean start, and would you believe it? One of those involved in one of the cautions who had it pit is in second. Rhodes has been all over the racetrack in the 7 car, and he's brought James Wagoner with him in the battle for second.
They both dive to the inside of the 6 of Phillips, and, on these restarts, it's been kind of the same here. Phillips will lose a little ground. He'll gain it back. We'll see what Rhodes has now as he approaches the 34 machine up to the outside here into turn 1.
Peak, and this could be a lead change opportunity. Rhodes trying to get the diamond. Couldn't get the arc down fully to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll do it topside instead. Normally the tires we've seen switch around to the top line later in the run. Rhodes wants to establish that. Side by side for the lead. Rhodes has the momentum. Hodges leads for now, but Rhodes is right there for a lead change swap.
Into 1 and 2, that bottom, that shallow entry, probably not going to work out well for Hodges. And you see a little bobble there. The 6 car trying to take advantage,
Caution.
and we have another caution.
And it's at the back. David Collins, Joseph Vecchione again. We also have Dustin Buck, who was around nearby at least on scoring, but a couple drivers involved, and Collins is hurt. The right front, I should say, is about to fall off the car.
Take a look here on the V-Speed incident replay up on the outside. It looks like the 10 car who was involved in that first one takes him 3 wide and bam, into the wall. That's what broke the right front suspension on the 707 of Collins. Let's take a quick on board here with the 707. I don't know if he realized they were 3 wide or not. Up until that point, no, he didn't.
Offset 3 wide, yeah.
That's tough to tell. That's tough to tell.
And keep in mind for the context, Steven, you don't get a call if it's offset 3 wide.
If your spotter is paying attention, you will get a notification from them saying, hey, 3 wide, you're on top. 3 wide, you're in the middle. 3 wide, you're on the bottom. Possibly David's spotter was fast asleep up in the spotter deck. Just didn't tell him. So he could probably check up going into the corner and allow the 10 car to get past him without further incident.
So that being said, we're under caution again. Coming up to lap 30. You're watching V-Speed for coverage of the VRX World Cup. We'll be back with more after this quick step aside.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It was just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live at Kansas Speedway. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, but the 34 has been the one consistent of the night. Chris Hodges has led 23 laps. So we get set to go back green here for the 6th time tonight on lap 32. Arnie, the flag man, getting ready to wave it again into the restart zone, and we're back live and racing at Kansas.
Watch for Hodges once again this time. He's done so most of the race. He's one of just under 10 yet to pit so far. By the way, of note, out of the race now, Jeffrey Hunter officially. Steven Aguilar, he's been parked due to a race comms violation. Epker still out of the race. In turn, 28 on the lead lap as the battles are back and forth. Starting to see some side-by-side. Jimmy Socks amongst those. He's been able to waltz his way into the top 5.
How about that, huh? He's just there on the outside. Jimmy starting back 12 positions up here. So back in the 18th position to begin this race. I think he did that last night as well in one of the races that the VRX World Cup put on. They host a lot of races through the week. And he was able to come back from the very back of the field and get a top 5. So no stranger to that.
We had a little bit of 3-wide action going into turn 4 with the 28 and 2 others. It looked like they figured it out as they come out onto the front stretch.
Here we go for the race late though. Rhodes to the outside. He tried this before the last caution. Now Hodges forced down to the inside. The top line is starting to establish itself. Hodges makes contact
sideways
for the lead.
He's still trying to save it.
Rhodes in the wall.
Hennings.
I think Hennings clipped him. No caution yet. They're still trying, and that should just about do it. There it is for Ellis. And passes.
Oh,
no. The passes for the lead are not going great.
Well, I could see that the 7 was getting loose on the outside. That's what started it. So let's unpack all of this. He lost about 17 positions here.
That's what it's looking like. He went from 2nd to 18th, so about 16 position.
Tags there. He tagged. Oh, man. Ellis got into the back of the 3, but I saw Hennings get tagged. And that sideways there by the 35 car is what actually brings out the yellow. But let's look on board here with the 74. Ugh.
Yeah, that
Got a little piece of it.
little pieces, depending on where they're hit, though, could be big. But again, the trigger was Ellis, guys, where I think Mike Howerton hit him on the checkup.
I know there was a checkup with a 3 here, and that starts it, and then Howerton gets into the back of him. He's already kind of sideways. A good save there by Ellis. I mean, he mitigated that as best as he could. He was just a victim of circumstance. But, yeah, that keeps the 34 car in the lead, and I mean, if we could go back and analyze it 100 times, but I do believe the 7 car just got a little loose there in the entry, a 3 on the outside, and came down into the 34 car.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Aggressive driving, aggressive racing. He was trying to go for the lead, get Chris Hodges out of that spot so that way, you know, he could possibly even make a couple of bonus points. Who knows? But once you come off the corners, that, like I said, the cars are really loose because as soon as they decompress off the corners, those cars are looser than ever.
Buck is the lucky dog. And we had several number of drivers elect to come down for pit stops, I believe. Baggioni and several more electing either top off, or in the case of a couple like Rhodes, get some new tires and or repairs done to their cars. Or in the case of Rhodes, miss your entire pit stall and then back up and get some service again because you forgot the left side tires.
It's been a weird race for a lot of these guys, and trying to get your head screwed on right, try to get back into the rhythm when there is no rhythm. You're sitting here, you're back there playing the tambourine when everybody else is hitting the toms. It's hard to keep up with. It's a lot of loudness. It's a lot of things that, well, I'm not a drum major by any means, although I was in band. The tempo of this race, though, if you boil it down, it's hard to get into a rhythm when there's things that you already planned for, and that's completely thrown out the window after lap 1.
I'll be honest, I don't know what the toms are, Bradley, in the case of music. In terms of food, yeah, but...
The tom-toms.
Oh, okay. But I was about to say, in terms of the rhythm, it's almost like everybody's having their own beat in their head, and that's what they're playing the tambourine on.
Yeah.
Except here's the thing, no one else can hear what you're thinking about in your head.
Exactly. And that's what it needs to be with and no fault to the race stewards, but they really got to establish here, we've got a lot of racing left to do. We've got over 100 laps here tonight left in this race, and we've spent about 20 plus here tonight pacing. We have to get this underway and under control. And I know Kai and everybody up there in the booth right now is working extra hard. You got Tony Richards up there with them. They're trying to sort this out. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the drivers and respecting one another. We've seen it here. They are highly capable of doing that. If there was a race that we saw that this was like not plausible, it was the very first race. But at this point, these guys are familiar racing with each other, and they're going to have to learn each other's tempos to dance.
On the bright
With
side,
this many cautions this far in, I would honestly expect this to be something like Daytona, where people are just going to be aggressive trying to get up front. This is fairly impressive.
I mean, on the bright side, one of the people watching is a drummer. That's our bright side. I'm serious. Shout out to Bonnie Flynn. Thank you very much for being a drummer.
She was. I know that to be a fact, actually.
So,
Hi, Mama.
oh, that's
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, that's your
Mama.
mother.
That's Mama. Yep.
So on the race car note, Hodges and Wagoner on the front row. They're yet to pit. Phillips in third. Mulcahy did top off a while back, about lap 10. Jimmy Sox yet to pit. PJ Cox yet to pit. Logan Waterburn, he topped off very early in the first 3 laps of the race. Richard Hurst, he's had a couple times where he's topped off. He starts 8th. He's about 17 laps into his stint. The field is scrambled about. We're back on our way. How long do they go, and how many times does
missed the
Lewin
gear
will
in the
bring?
30 already. Big wreck here in the 1.
We didn't even get within a straightaway.
That's
Not
a missed
even.
shift.
It looked like the 30 didn't even. It looked like he missed a gear going into the corner. It's a possibility, but we don't really know. It could have been an incident where it was probably even on the car behind him.
Let's go back, because I think we're going to know. Yeah, that's a telltale right there.
And then the wheel breaks. Yep.
We'll back it up one more time here, but you can see 9,000 RPMs. So either that shifter quit working or he couldn't find it.
One thing's for sure, though, once the hit happened, that, it looks like broke his equipment. And that just broke a lot of drivers' hopes again.
William Britton got into the back of the 70 of Mama T there, and a little damage from the 56 aftermath.
I'm very curious. I will say I'm curious in the 22's viewpoint because I think they went underneath the car there.
The 22, you say?
Yeah. Yeah, they were in the 20s at the time of the caution flag. Where did Shane Gunter get into all this from? Oh, he's already hitting cars before the restart. We're off to a good start.
Let's figure this out here. He's going to scratch my paint again.
Stack. No caution, no caution. Okay. I guess
Go lift.
Go Gadget lift my car?
Yeah. That's all it is. I mean, these guys have been kind of off with a variety of things, so why not telemetry at this point?
Yeah, who needs the laws of physics?
No, we don't need those.
Yeah.
Non-existent.
We say that's all in fun, guys. If you are here for VRX here tonight, this is very much an off night for these guys. I know that last week was, in my opinion, projected to be way worse than what it was. Iowa went way better. I know that there were some discrepancies with the finishing order and what happened in that race. But we've had some great racing here at VRX. We have watched a number of events go green over the last season here in the VRX World Cup, and now here tonight for season 2, as we would call it. We know these guys are capable. We just got to get that aggression out of their veins. We know they can do it.
Only a lot of strategy being mixed up yet again. PJ Cox, Fiddler, Pillar, Buck, and many more. Yet again. Once those coming down this previous time by. Not at the halfway point yet. It's to the point where it might be... We haven't run enough laps to where... If we keep going like this, we might have maybe one stop at the rate some of these people are going. No offense, but...
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 of them that have stayed out for the entirety of these cautions. Chris Phillips and Christopher Hodges, both. So both Chris's, they're up here running to see how long they can go based off the caution laps. And, you know, don't worry, because they are yet to really get the tires hot. They know that they're fast, and Hodges is just loving it. I mean, he's going to get more and more laps led as the night goes on. I just hope it doesn't put him in another scenario like he had at Iowa, where he gets caught off guard.
Been a stunning race so far in Kansas. Go ahead.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but with how many laps that we've had, I don't know if you guys have seen him go into the pits at all. My guess is that he hasn't. So he's been on these tires for majority of the race. If I had to put a number to it, he's been on them tires for about less than 10 to 15 laps at race pace.
Yeah, somewhere around 10 laps, I'd say, under speed. So, yeah, Hodges and Phillips both, they haven't really got him hot, and you can see Hurst back here just behind in the 4th position. He recently came in and topped off, so he's got about 20 laps on this stint since he's hit pit road. I would look to see him be the next factor if we go green.
But all set again. Hodges and Phillips are the only drivers yet to come down to top off at least once. Waterburn, Hurst have made their way back up towards the front. You also have Evans and McDonald amongst your top 6. So far, so very interesting. How long will this run go? Let's find out with the pace car already off. Already a very dark night continues on from Kansas. We're back underway.
Chris Hodges gets a really good run.
So did Hurst to the inside of the 6 car into 1.
This looks like it's going to get interesting with Chris Hodges and Richard Hurst, because Chris Hodges knows that Richard Hurst is really fast and really capable at these mile-and-a-half tracks. Hopefully this can get very interesting up and towards the front.
Hurst already is migrating up towards the top line here. Hodges staying towards the bottom grooves for the time being. So with that being said here, it's been interesting in terms of trying to see if a rhythm gets settled out here. It is pretty clear that one thing, not seeing a lot of 2x2 compared to the fresh tires, which are, well, all the way back here.
There's Logan Rhodes. He's got 4 fresh ones. He actually had a little damage repaired there as he actually hit the outside wall a few laps ago. He's down to the inside of the 5 car now as they come out of turn 4. That's Mike Shivers up to 11th position already for Rhodes. He's making quick work of these drivers. And 2x2 in front of him, Jeff Scott to the inside now. The 38 trying to rebound as well. There's Shane Gunter in the 6th spot. How about that?
It's been an
Richard Hurst is making a peek towards the outside of the 34, going around into turn 3 and 4. Looks like he might have that run going off the corner, but who knows? As looking like Chris Hodges is still going to lead that lap.
Hurst is getting extremely close to getting those lead laps, though. This might be the best chance anyone's had on the top side yet. Remember the last time someone tried to clear to the 34? It led to a wreck. Not this time. Richard Hurst to the point. Now the battle's on for second.
It could also be a little bit of a strategy for the 34 as he's starting to see that they're starting to get into a rhythm. He's trying to be conservative and save those tires for possibly a later on run.
To the bottom of the racetrack, Hodges. Is this down to the tires, or better yet, is this down to Hodges trying to save a bit here? It's a big question because Phillips is not dropping back like we're seeing the 34.
Well, I think maybe back to what happened at Iowa where you just couldn't get into a rhythm and it caught him off guard. You see Logan Watering up here in the 3rd position, all over the back bumper of Phillips, and Phillips all over the back bumper of Hurst right now into 1. They're trying different lines, but it's settled out here for the top 5. Ricky Evans in the 14, up to 5th from 15. 10 spots here tonight. We go by Shane Gunter, biggest mover of the race. He's up 27 positions. Jeff Scott back here side by side behind him. That's the 52 in the 7.
And the 6 is starting to get a run off of Richard Hurst going into turn 1. He had him a little bit onto the back stretch, but lost it a little bit going into the corner and into turn 3s and 4. And he just doesn't have the run coming off of turn 2. And now look at that. He's starting to drop like a rock, like how Chris Hodges did on the restart.
How about Logan Watering moving up here to the 2nd spot now?
Ooh,
contact with Gunter.
Slide
Trying to save it still. Straightening back out. The 14 got back into him. But that's going to lose them a ton of time.
No caution, we stay green. Significant damage to both of them. And that got very close to being very bad in front of a lot of race cars yet again. Evans holding on to the bottom. And right now it looks like Rhodes yet again getting bumped around. Gunter the same. They'll keep going. No pit stop for damage for them with this run staying green.
Chris Hodges got a good run off of the corner going into the front stretch. He got it himself around Phillips as he takes over the 2nd spot.
Looks like he wants his lead back. Is he going to be able to find a way to keep loving that inside line? That is the better line, keep in mind, for tire saving, Bradley. That's why we're seeing a lot of drivers seemingly go that way instead of running the normal fast top line.
And that top line's quick, but it burns that right rear off really fast, and you can run that bottom, learn how to roll it and keep it under you. You'll save fuel, you'll save tires, there's a number of things that'll go on, and if you're fast down there, eventually you'll prevail. As you see him dive back to the inside for the lead, he's peaking, gets a decent run to match the speed. The 6 car of Phillips, though, still a factor, and he's just trying to keep some clean air on the nose. Now to the middle now. 34 doesn't quite get the run, and now there's the 28 of Bill Daniels peeking to the inside of Phillips.
You have a little bit of a battle going on for the 10th position with Mike Howerton, Jeff Scott, and Jimmy Sox, as it looks like Jeff Scott's going to take over and Mike Howerton's going to drop down a spot due to a little bit of a mistake going into the corner. Jimmy Sox takes over the 11th spot.
What's happening at the front, though? Hodges got alongside and just a touch bit ahead of Hurst on that inside line. Here comes the choo-choo train up top side, though. Phillips and Daniels both preferring the top groove. Make it 3 wide. Daniels having to back out of it.
They thought about it for a second there in the entry of 1, but they seen how it happened, and the rest of the field thought better of it. As you look back here to the battle you were talking about a minute ago, some contact back here caused a little jumble, and it looks like Shane Gunter has lost a couple more positions since we last talked about him. He's back to 11th.
Now on board from Howerton in this. That Area 51 machine trying to be aggressive up on the top side. and with several high-end setup groupings over the years. And one thing's for certain, Howerton will keep pressing and pressing for pass attempts, Steven. Oh no, and there's the too much pressing there.
They keep it clean and green, but not clean into the entry of 3. He loses 5 positions. Let's go back on the replay here and take a look at that.
Steven?
What do you think, Steve? Contact with the wall first?
Yeah, looking at it, a little bit of contact with the wall again, and you're trying to get it off the wall, keep some of that momentum going, but as you're holding that wall, it's going to slow you down significantly, and if you try to yank it off the wall, it's going to cause you to get loose. Cause a little bit of an incident between one car and the other.
Looking back at the battle for the race lead, Hodges has closed back around again. Oh, he's willing to nearly bump out of the way.
Little check actually opened up the door for Daniels, and a peek to the inside now for first. Doesn't have the run off, so Hodges is going to hold the outside line as they enter 1 and 2 side by side here for the 34 and the 28. High line, not where Hodges really wants to run. We saw him on the bottom for most of this. And, loses the nose, and the 28 of Daniels gets up into him. He loses a couple spots after that. And a yellow flag is out.
More cars crash yet again. Once again under yellow. And this could be in a pivotal time with about 90 to go. The 3 car already with the tow. That's John Hudson. What did Hudson see? A lot of fast cars wanting to find a way into the conversation. And there goes the Spikers.
So Spiker, I don't know that he really did anything wrong there, but it looked like the 3 maybe lost the nose, slid up into him, and then Buck was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Right on board here with the 58 car.
And I'll ask you this, Steven. Speed differential has been pretty big here tonight. That almost seemed to come straight down to speed differential and entry.
Yeah, a little bit. It looked like he was trying to be a little too aggressive going into the corner. Had a little too much speed. Tapped the car right next to him and just ultimately lost it on the front end, and the car just, as he tried to snap it straight, it just snapped loose, sending him up front and into the wall. And hearing it, it sounded like he busted a motor.
Not a surprise for the contact, you'd think.
Not a whole lot.
Take a listen. And blammo indeed, and I think Bradley, getting right to what Steven just said, too quick in the corner, missed the bottom, and now, no surprise, the drivers who haven't pit yet, pit. A lot of others using a tire set.
Well, you have to at this point. We're just about at the halfway point, 62 laps in. If you haven't hit pit road for tires, now's the time. Everybody comes down. You've got the 21 of Hurst who wins the race off of pit road. A few drivers stay out here. They did use tires. You've got James Wagoner, Logan Rhodes, William Britton. How about that? William Britton finds his way up here into the top 3, as per usual. So now's the time. If you didn't use them, you got to use them. You don't get to take them with you when you leave.
And it looks like somebody who's been really sleeping in the back is Jimmy Socks, as he makes his way up into the top 5 as well.
And that's got to be partly with the track position here. Yeah. Checking on the stid, 20 laps in. So the top 5 all electing to roll the dice here. Is this a smart play or a risky play, Steven?
It could be a little bit of a risky play because we did have a little bit of green flag runs. They probably burnt up a little bit of the tire, but I wouldn't say so because Jimmy, he is very good at tire conservation. It's either or. It like you say, it's a roll of the dice. Whatever you get is what you get.
You got to reset your field as we are still a little ways away from the halfway point. Wagoner, Rhodes, Britton, Sox, Chivers in the top 5 all stayed out. Daniels, Hurst, Hodges, Phillips, Waterburn are in your top 10 coming up towards the signal. It's been an interesting night here from Kansas so far. The wildness continuing on here for the VRX World Cup in the Addison Bridges 225 in just a moment.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It was just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Race car. Time to go race cars to the green flag. James Wagoner rolling the dice, stays out with Logan Rhodes and several others as they're back underway. Fresh tires and fuel, 6th on back. It's about to get crazy yet again. Hodges bring the crazy, trying to find a way around Daniels.
All over the back bumper here as they come out of turn 2. He's going to follow suit with the 28 of Daniels. He has a car to his inside briefly there. That was the 5 of Shivers. And drive off of the corner, the 01 of Sox. He's going to go to the inside. 34 trying to get back to the point after that pit stop of the 21 into the wall. That's Hurst. He's going to lose a ton of spots.
That door check going to cost a lot of positions in turn with the 21. He's all the way back outside the top 15 from that contact. Doesn't look as bad as it could have been, believe it or not. But that's going to hurt the position. You can see with the hands and almost the body language alone. Even with the VR headset, you can tell he's mad without even seeing his face.
But don't hit that V-speed card. Please don't hit that V-speed card. It's not our fault. I promise.
He hit it.
He hit it.
Chris Phillips got a little loose coming off the turn 4, coming onto the front stretch, sorry. But he managed to get it back straight and trying to make his way back up towards the front as he's going to try maybe push it 3 wide, but looks like he's going to be a little patient. Now they're 3 wide. 4 wide.
4 wide of the battle for third. Hodges in the lead. Rhodes says, no, thank you.
And there goes Phillips.
Rhodes called it. Phillips pays, and several more decide to join in on the front stretch wall.
Who was that shot across the that was Shivers.
I guess he decided, I like the wall too.
That's, he shot it through there, and they needed to check up, without a doubt.
Broke suspension for obvious reasons, but that VRX, that V-Speed replay is going to be very scintillating for that one.
Yeah. Go back here riding. I saw this impressive move here by Hurst on the outside, so that's what we come back to. But let's go back up here to Rhodes. They're 3 wide, and they end up 4 wide as they exit turn 4.
And looking at it, it looked like Phillips was trying to catch it going up the track, because if you saw, he was trying to catch it going up. As the car was sliding up, he just ran out of room and collected the 64 with him.
Was that I think that was PJ Cox who just doored the 5 out of the way, who was trying to get out of the way of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do when you see this? You see Rhodes back out of it, so wise move, but just clips the 6 car into the 64. And yeah, there's PJ Cox, 14's involved. Well, let's go back one more time and take a look at it from the 64's perspective.
Kind of goes back, Steven, to where the 7's been involved in some more incidents already. Don't blame him for pulling out here, but the others, too late to pull out. You're in the wall.
Just not a whole lot of playing room. He was already pushed up as high as he could go. He could have backed off, but he did see the 7 back off, so he was just trying to keep it going. And ultimately, the 6 just came up and just collected him with it. In my opinion, it wasn't really the 64's fault in this incident. Just the 6 trying to catch his car coming up the track and ultimately just took him out.
This has been
A really impressive move for the 7 to back off into that situation because he knew trouble was coming.
And that keeps his race going in the 4th position, was about to say. So with that being said, we're near the halfway point, so why not take the time to go through the field with Thrustmaster? Thrustmaster through the field, presented by Thrustmaster. Let's look at your top 10 runners so far. Christopher Hodges, he's dominated the day. 43 laps led. He's back up front. It only took him about 5 green flag laps to get back here. James Wagoner, he's on older rubber, keep in mind. He pit about 20 or so laps ago. He's in 2nd. 3rd spot, Bill Daniels. He's been bounced around several times, went on a top-off strategy, made up the track position in turn. When everything converged on the strategy, kept the track position. Logan Rhodes kept his track position by not getting in that last wreck. The 7 machine's been in a couple incidents tonight. Logan Waterburn, he's trying to prove that Hondas can indeed go fast in stock car racing. He's in the 5th position. In 6th, Casey Ellis has been involved in a couple cautions tonight. Despite that, he's still up there and trying to keep the car up there this time. PJ Cox, he had some door-to-door contact running the apron as several tried to dodge. Shedded off that said contact, and despite that, still in 7th. Paul McDonald, he was involved in the earliest of cautions, topped off a couple times. He's gone from 19th to 8th again. Rounding out your top spots, Joseph Viggioni, he's inside the 9th spot. A surprise, yes, he started 24th. He was in the first caution of the day. He has no fast repair to play with, keep in mind. Mulcahy is in the 10th position. He was involved in heavy contact early as well. We'll see how the Thrustmaster machine looks to keep it safe here in this one. With that being said, just about at cross flags, lap 72 when we get back racing. Drivers who pit this window will be starting around 16th on back. 180 laps to go. Hodges continuing to be the Pied Piper for the pack in Kansas. Pace car off to the restart zone. Green flag is out. Hodges back to the loud pedal.
So there he is, getting a decent start. Jumps out to about 0.2 of a second. Takes him into turn 1. That's what he needs to do. But Bill Daniels back there playing defense for his 2nd position. And Rhodes, who avoided that last caution, had some company in the 30th around of Wagoner. And doesn't lock it down. The 10's involved.
Caution out yet again. And here comes everybody else again. There are several still not holding their brakes and sliding back up the banking. Edward Fiddler nearly took several more with them playing bowling here in Kansas as we're back in our yellow. Yet again, the 7 is involved. Steven, are you stunned?
I honestly have no words, really. The 7 of Rhodes, like I said, on that right side, probably didn't see him coming down, but on how far ahead he was in front of the 7, he probably should have seen him coming down, checked up a little bit, let him continue to hold that third spot. Ultimately, the 7 was just trying to be aggressive and take the line. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Let's take a look again for the 10. It's been in a couple of incidents. This might be a race killer.
Nowhere to go for him either. How about Greg Spiker? Let's ride on board with that car.
That 65's been at least one incident already.
Watch him thread the needle here, huh?
Oh.
That takes a lot of skill as a driver to be able to feed it through. I don't even know if he even lifted. It looked like he was just going full throttle through it, so that's very impressive just to even do that.
The 818 of Stephen Aguirre is heavily damaged in that as well. We could go back and watch. I don't know exactly where he got that damage from. I must have missed that.
Might have been from the incident you seen him just dragging a moment ago. We'll see again. He was in the heart of that. It's worth noting that William Britton and several more are already losing a lap, if not already out of the race from this.
Curious where the
last check.
818 got it.
If I last checked, I'm pretty sure I saw the William putting the car back in the trailer. And I think he just went home. I think he was just getting a little frustrated with the race. And he's just like, I'm not even going to be in contention. Just put the car on the trailer and just took it home.
And that's where he got it right there. It was on the outside wall. He had nowhere to go.
And I think you said it was Stephen Aguirre. That's actually Kevin Mulcahy in the 818.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yep. So Mulcahy wants us losing lots of time on the racetrack in turn, in theory. We're running out of fast repairs and free race cars from the race car machine in the infield. Eventually, that machine is going to run out of race cars for people to be able to fix their cars up with.
Well, and you look at the different multitude of drivers that are in this race. That race car machine's been working overtime. I could go through and count, but I'm going to guess that it's somewhere around 14 cars here tonight that have had to produce a new one. And even up here in the top 10, it's more than that, because I'm looking at the numbers now. There's 2 drivers in the top 3 that have used that fast repair. Bill Daniels, Logan Rhodes, they've also used it. Yeah, probably more like 20 cars tonight.
I just hand counted this. There are 9 cars in the field yet to use a fast repair. Everyone else is either out of the race or has used it once. So that being said, in theory, should get calmer with a lot of drivers losing their banker car.
You would think. I would hope. There's a lot of factors into this. You can't finish if you don't have a car left.
And we've only got 20 cars on the lead lap right now. Luke Rakowski is going to be the first car a lap down, followed by Joseph Fagioni and Mike Chivers, and including Kevin Mulcahy. So hopefully, but if there is another caution, one of these drivers, depending on their position, will get their lap back and possibly be a factor for possibly winning this race.
Like back out again, back to racing just past the midway point of this one. Hodges the leader. Rhodes quickly taking second again. It's been an interesting night. That yellow 34 looking to hold off the Energizer Bunny.
But I talked to Hodges pre-race. I said, you know, I want to see you get a win. You deserve it. A lot of these guys are going to try to take that away from him. And as they should. It is a race. But I just would like... Oh, we got 56 of Richards into the wall back there coming out of 4. As soon as I get to talking about racing, something happens. 3 wide into 1. Into the wall again. And crowding there, Spiker and Gunter.
Does he have a broken suspension maybe from that contact? We'll see if he's able to keep going. That's a little bit the offset that you usually see from the iRacing difference. He looks massively tight. Now there goes Greg Spiker getting bumped a little bit by the air of the 22.
And Gunter is going to be throwing it 3 wide with Howerton and Richards as they try to figure it out going into the turn 1.
Down to the apron. Howerton thought better of it. I tell you what, Howerton's seen enough 3 wide tonight. He said, I'm out.
Up front, though. Looks like the battle's on for third. Rhodes already shuffled out by the 1. Daniels wants to go. Here comes John Wick to say, enough of this. Let's go. After all, I don't want to finish the rest of that sentence because it's very much mature.
Yeah, and somebody probably saw the 38 car's puppy here, and he's on a mission, 1 at a time, as John Wick would do it. 3 wide, though. He's going to do it all at once. He got through it.
Someone on a mission is going to be back here in 17th as he's taking over a few spots. That's going to be Richard Hurst. He's been moving through this field after this restart. Who knows? He might even try to get back. He might even get back up before we even know it. Just someone to keep an eye on is Howerton's gonna try to peek it 3 wide, but checks up a little bit going out of turn 2.
There's a caution. It might be back there, or it might be where the John Wick car is at the way things are going here. More checkups for the back end of the 7 machine. This is the 33 McDonald, one of the VRX orange, yellow, and black machines.
Oh, someone's turned around. The 28 with Jimmy Sox going on into the tri-oval. It looked like the 28 managed to save it, and we're still under green.
No, we are not. Caution is out, and he is lucky. No one else hit him.
That all happening down the front stretch in front of about 12 other cars. Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. That was luck.
Just take a look at this. In your experience, Steven, whether broadcasting or racing, if you get turned about here, how often are you hit?
Quite often. Very much so quite often if you're not paying attention, which is something that with what I do is I have a little relative up in my dashboard where if I see somebody that is slower and I'm booking it towards them, immediately off the gas, trying to get on the brakes, looking through my windshield, not looking behind me, trying to figure out where this accident is taking place. That way I can try to avoid it. But if I'm involved with it, I really have nothing to do. It's literally on the other drivers to be cognitive and aware to try and slow down, not hit anyone else. As we've seen tonight, not a whole lot of people have been doing that.
And Hurst, little lift.
Little
I don't
lift.
think, just a little one.
Yeah. That was scary because he was still full throttle before I think the 28 had actually caught the car, and I was wondering, is he gonna lift? He eventually did, but put a lot of faith in somebody to save that car, and at the speed he was going, 180 plus, wouldn't have been pretty.
Definitely not. It will probably, like what we seen earlier, if you hit these cars on the rear end, yes, it may not look like you can be able to pick it up, but with how these cars are designed aerodynamically, it can pick up the rear end of that car, and it'll just be a very bad night for whoever is on the receiving end of it.
Cautions breed cautions, am I right? Koski, by the way, is the lucky dog, so congrats to him. He is now one of 21 with that distinction. That being said, it's been the type of night where you've wanted to beat the 34 car. Really, Christopher Hodges is the only person in this entire field who hasn't had anything happen to him. outside of maybe the occasional starting in 5th instead.
He did have that little contact with Rhodes. I will bring that back up, and
Yes.
I don't think it was really his fault, but he did have that. So I don't think there's a car untouched on this racetrack tonight.
I say a few of these drivers do have a bit of damage on them, but honestly, I'd say why don't we bring up our leader and have a little bit of a conversation with him and figure out what he's going through, what his thoughts are.
Do we want to do that to him? We'll bring him in here. I got no problem with it, but that curse of the camera sometimes, you know how it is. We'll bring
Broadcaster's curse.
So indeed, let's do so indeed. Bradley, why don't you take this?
I got him. There's 34, Christopher Hodges. Hodges, I tell you what, man, it's been chaos tonight. But if there was anything that you could take away from this race right now, you've led the most laps, you started up front. Are you going to get the victory tonight?
Well, I sure hope so. Got a plan here and when to pit. I'm not going to say it, but definitely going to try to get in the window and see what happens. And still got 2 sets of the pits, so we'll figure that out. Yeah, I think I have a good shot to win this race. Controlled the race most of the day, so got the most laps led, and I've seen some of the guys in Racing Points are in trouble. So we're gonna try to get it done tonight.
Well, we talked about it before I pulled you in here. Curse of the camera. I hope it didn't come to you, but after that, it really comes down discipline as a driver. How much could you preach about that tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely been conservative and aggressive at different times. Lost the lead early in the race, so and got it back pretty quick. So I knew when to be aggressive, knew when to be consistent. Got a few scrapes and bumps throughout this race, and that could have been a lot worse. So just trying to stay conservative when I can and be aggressive when I can. But right now, it's just all aggressive right now. Be conservative too, but be all aggressive. Keep this lead and figure out when I need to pit.
All right, well, before we send you back here, can you tell me what team you were at so I don't put you in the wrong place?
I believe it's with Richard Hurst.
All right, I will make sure to get you back there. And Ricky Evans' channel. All right, appreciate your time. Go get him, buddy.
Thank you.
Rogers, currently the race leader, Logan Waterburn in second, Jeff Scott, PJ Cox, Paul McDonald, now your top 5. It's been a race where different strategies have come to the forefront. First, those who pit, 15th. We're back underway this time with a clean launch again for the 34. Side by side, focus again is on second and third. It's 3 wide again.
It looked like somebody had a little bit of trouble going off the restart. Maybe a misshift, or probably even chattered tires trying to keep it a little bit straight so he didn't spin out off the green flag. And that is going to be the, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 05 of PJ Cox.
Indeed, he was the one who backed out from the 3 wide middle essentially. And already 3 wide offset in front of him as well. Looking now for the Ghost Machine, Ellis. There's a lot of fast race cars wanting to catch him and quick, all while they go 2 by 2 a couple rows deep in front.
Oh, one into the wall. That was Sox right in front of Ellis. On board here with the number 35. And the live camera feed. Triple monitors here, trying to get a full view. He had a good look there, the 01, thankfully, before a little trouble out of 2.
Already seeing how that top line is starting to get some numbers. Keep an eye on the race lead. Waterburn wants it. Can he get it this time for the top side? He does. New race leader, Logan Waterburn for the first time.
Phillips also getting by the 34 car, so a change for second position all within a lap. But how about that? A new leader. We haven't seen that much here tonight. And Waterburn, he peaked at it there earlier in this race. He's going to have his hands full with the 6 of Phillips just momentarily.
well. Phillips, he's been in the conversation much of the night. He's been trying to get things working throughout the bottom of the racetrack, throughout the top of the racetrack. He's got a VRX battling for the win and for the lead so far. Is this the time he can find his way to the point? That's the question. All while Scott, he's trying to pass by several more, while others like PJ Cox get shuffled as others bubble.
The 01 at Sox has actually lost about 3 positions here since this restart. He finds himself inside of Casey Ellis for another lap. And the 05, the 21 to the outside. Big run there by Hurst. He's on the move now. Oh, in trouble.
Caution's out.
Caution flag is out, and half
Hurst.
the field didn't know the caution.
Broadcaster's curse.
What?
It looked like it played a factor.
Man.
Well, here's the thing. The scoring at the time was in the mid-pack. Somebody didn't get the memo that the caution was out, guys.
We're going to find out who it was here.
Yeah, it was around Greg Pillar and company. That was the trigger for the caution flag, based on the scoring moves. What we can tell here. Those drivers all started going back and forth with the timing of this caution, and then about, yeah, wow, that was contact.
It was on Hodge.
Yeah, Hodges, yeah.
38.
Almost at the same time, maybe, as what might have happened behind him.
So I need another car number here to... Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, big hit.
Now, yeah, caution was out before they started making contact here, guys. So the 90, I think we need to go back to. I almost feel like they were going to wreck anyway, maybe. But something back in this pack was the original trigger. Yeah, that was the reason.
Yeah.
And then that happened up ahead of him as well. So two wrecks all within half a second of each other. And Hurst gets damage from it. Our race dominant leader, Christopher Hodges, has heavy damage. That's officially, I think, every single car here tonight has had some problem or another.
And a little bit devastating coming from race control, giving Chris Hodges the EOL black flag. Wow, the broadcaster curse is a real thing, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's officially, it's some kind of voodoo that I can't explain, but it happens. We've seen it a lot here on V-Speed.
All you can say to that is the commentator's curse remains undefeated. All of that while Logan Waterburn, he's now your race leader. 33 laps into the stint. Based on the numbers, still at least, to be comfortable, we'll say about 20 laps away from the fuel number you want to get to be able to make it the full way, including any green, white, checkered race finish here. That being said, Waterburn and a lot of these other drivers are continuously taking advantage of this rotation of different drivers in different places.
Why don't you say we pull Logan Waterburn in here and have a talk with them. Logan Waterburn, it's Bradley Cooper, Stephen Brown, and Justin Prince in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
A-firm.
A-firm. I like that, military talk. And Logan, you're up here in the front. You got the Honda Chevrolet for what? I don't even know what to say there. Up at the front here though tonight, and Hodges having problems back there in the field. Do you feel like you could run away with this one and get the win?
Yeah, I feel like I could, if not get the win, at least contest for it. The number 6 behind me seems to be pretty fast as well. But that being said, I'm going to do everything I can do to get the LWR Team Honda car in the victory lane and get a victory for all my associates working for Honda.
Well, I hope that's not your pedal squeaking in the background there.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you, Ben.
Say
Come
again.
on, it's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks here. You got all the equipment settled back down. Everything's good.
Well, yes, I've got the table. I bought a new table for it. I'm eventually going to get a sim rig. My new wheel's showing up on Tuesday. I actually got an attachment for it yesterday. But so everything will be pretty well set up. I think the next thing I'll do is do triple monitors.
Well, there you go. I can't say that that's a bad move. But good luck here. You're getting ready to go back green, double back up. We'll see you maybe post-race, buddy.
Alrighty. Thank you, buddy.
Logan Watering in the number 1 car. It'll lead him into turn 1 here tonight. And we get set to go back green with Chris Phillips, Paul McDonald, Casey Ellis, and PJ Cox, the top 5. Well, it's been interesting all night. I know we had a 3-man booth. I didn't expect it to be so much work, though, as we're just about 50 laps to go. 96 laps in. We'll take the green here on lap 97 into the restart zone. And Logan Watering onto the loud pedal. He's going to go fast. Let's see how long it will last into turn 1.
And Paul McDonald gets a good run off the restart as well. He's going to be on the inside of Chris Phillips as they go into turn 1 and possibly going to hold on to that second position, but it just all depends on how Chris Phillips comes out on turn 2, and it looks like he does get a run with a little bit of assistance from the 35.
We'll start the 1 heat once again. Up in front has had some decent launches. Battle for the lead already. Phillips is alongside. Phillips is pushing the 1 up the track. Good launch for Waterburn to be able to clear on by, but Phillips doesn't want to let this go away easily.
He's challenged several times tonight, and there's Casey Ellis. How about the speed the 35 car showing up into the top 3 now? That's the first time tonight that we've mentioned his name in third, and he's on a hard charge as he comes out of turn 2. Side by side, Howerton. How about the rebound he's had?
It's been a busy night when it comes to incidents and when it comes to staying out of trouble for the 52. Right now he's on that preferred groove for the next couple laps or so. Already the Energizer Bunny looking to try and give a little bit of drummer music to the inside line.
A little bit of tempo that would come from that guy. That's the one that you need to look for, but it's been out of tempo from the start of this race. He finds himself in 7th when he started up in the top 5. Well, actually, he was starting deep in this field, but he's been in the top 5 most of the night. Back up here to 7th. He's got a lot of work to do.
Howerton has a big run coming across the stripe as he takes over 3rd.
Pass on Ellis once again to be able to make the move low side. Coming up to 50 laps to go here in this midway portion of the season. VRX World Cup action once again from Kansas Speedway here on V-Speed. Waterburn still holding on by 1/10 of a second for now. More contact in the backdrop. The 7 and the 33 this time trading paint.
We'll cut off of the nose there as they go into 1, and the 33 loses the nose. As soon as he hits that dirty air, you can see that car transition, and a car loose off of the back stretch. That's the 38 of, well, that's actually a lap down car with a heavy damage, but that's the 38 machine. Jeff Scott, and he's going to go 3 wide here in the 3 and 4. They look like they navigated it okay. Top 10, though, is kind of branched off. I'd say from 7th position up.
The 6 just gives the 1 a big shove going into turn 1 as they're both side by side going down the back stretch, and it looks like they're getting pretty a lot closer as Howerton's trying to give the 1 a little bit of a push going into the turn. But running up on the high side this late in the run, I don't know if he'll be able to hold on to it.
Waterburn still keeping up the pressure high side though. Here comes Howerton though. Already hard charging a second. Waterburn trying to play the short side on the defense for the inside groove. Howardson getting the run on the outside. The Area 51 machine has a chance to try and take their first lead of the day. The gray and blue machine side by side for the point. Waterburn trying to block it off out of 4.
He had a little bit of defense, but not enough. And now to the outside again as the 52 goes into turn 1. Waterburn gets a decent enough run, but he's not going to be clear. Let's see if he can come out of turns 1 and 2. That high line's so fast.
And
Not
take
the
a
line
look
he
at
wants
this.
to run.
And take a look at this. Chris Hodges starting all the way from the back. He's up to 13th now.
After that EOL penalty, Hodges has made up a lot of ground. Change for the lead, though, with Howerton. And Hodges will check in with him here. He's up to 11th now on the charge.
It's going to need a caution, though, to be able to get the track position back at least. That's the way it's looking. And you can see just how crazy it's getting up there. Howardson is in front of a hornet's nest. Phillips, many more. They're nearly bouncing off each other. That's one of the spikers. Break spiker up there. Richards trying to battle with Ellis. Now more contact. The 033. Koski off the door. That time at the 28. And Hennings is in the conversation now too.
Well, Hennings actually, I want to say he's scored 5 laps down. He's had a bad night, but he is up here in the mix. But tough night. He got damaged very early in this race. Still looks like there's a little damage on that 74 butt kicker machine. He's got a lot of work to do, but the cautions, they've been bringing him back lap after lap. If he can get these waiver rounds, get these cautions to fall in the right way, he could find himself back in contention.
A lot of wave rounds, though. Keep in mind there are still 4 drivers in front of him who are at least 1 or 2 laps down.
Oh,
contact. Rakowski in the wall. More contact.
Hodges, more contact. 65 into the 28, down the back stretch, and the 22's involved. There's the yellow.
Here we go again. Oh, wow.
Well, Spiker does have a fast repair in his back pocket, thankfully, because that damage definitely warrants it.
Massive damage there. And that's one of your final championships. Use fast repair. You can see it coming. That's off Hodges.
We'll take a blimp camera to look at this a little bit different, but Hodges kind of slid up, I think, here. Well, contact there. The 74 got into the back of him. Oh, that's tight. I don't know if Spiker maybe touched the 34 and got him loose, or if the 34 lost the nose and came up. The 22 of Gunter gets involved in that, and he's just an innocent bystander from the start of it. Oh, and then he gets hit again by the 3. I don't know what that is. Why isn't the 3 car checking up there?
Possibly he thought he could get around him. He didn't think he was at a dead stop. Thought he would use the bank angle of the backstretch to try and slide down the track.
Go
but
anywhere else?
Who knows? That's crazy. Honestly, in my opinion, John Hudson should really be parked for that, because he had enough time to be able to slow down and follow the rest of the field down to the bottom of the apron to try and avoid Shane Gunter. But that's just my honest opinion.
I think it's important to mention the lights were on out of turn 2. Have you ever heard of target fixation?
Yeah, we'll back it up here a little bit more. And you know, it's not our job to critique, but here, right here, the lights come on.
Lights.
We got a yellow.
Caution. Look at the gears. Brake, lifting. Oh no!
That's tough. I mean, tunnel vision. Wow. That's tough. Again, not our job by any means of the imagination up here in the V-Speed booth. We only broadcast and project what we see, but in our honest opinion, that could have been avoided.
And I will say when it comes to the target fixation, when they used to have Canada's worst driver, that was one of the first things they taught people about who were prone to incidents was if you stare at the incident or stare at the target, you're turning into the target usually. You have to look where you want to go. In that case, he looked straight ahead, looked at the target, and in turn didn't move the wheel.
Accuracy. That's how your eyes work. And so after tonight here, I think a lot of drivers got to go back to the drawing book and think, you know, what am I doing that puts me in these situations? We've had a lot of cars after the fact with wrecks that, you know, are probably 4 or 5 cars ahead that maybe just as simple as lifting for that moment. I know that you got to rely on the people around you, but put some faith in the individuals that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And if you all have that same mentality, we can get through these. But ultimately, it comes up to the aggression that we've had tonight. We've seen a lot of laps here, very short runs, and a new leader. We saw the guy that was dominating this race get some aggressive moves. It's been a variety of different things that I think you mix it all together here at Kansas. Late under the lights, you're going to see some of that. How about that? Hodge is back up here into the top 10. He's in 6th spot now.
Well, here's the thing. Coming up here on the strat, he's the first of those who pit again. They're good to go for sure on fuel, those who just pit here. Of note, though, Rhodes, Ben Richards, Dustin Buck, Greg Pillar, and Mike Chivers all staying out. And it becomes the question here, Steven, are they going to be able to make it? We're talking up to 27 laps in their fuel tanks, including the caution laps.
Well, listening to it from race control, it seems like the 3 wide rule has now come back. So these drivers are going to be pushing it 3 wide off the stripe. Who knows? They might even get another caution. It could possibly allow these front drivers to back it down, collect themselves, figure out a new strategy, and save some of that good old Sunoco go-go racing fuel, and maybe scrub off the tires a little bit to get them to be able to hold on to the grip as they come down turn 4 into the Geico restart zone with Rhodes off the restart, and there he goes. Green flag is back out in the air as we go back racing.
And a good launch again from Rhodes this time. Keeping on the drivers again up on top. Hodges and company want to go places. Same for Howerton. The Hornets' Nest getting 2 and 3 wide. Here we go. It's 4 wide.
Hodges is making quick moves, but he needs to be smart here. He knows the 5 of Shivers is going to probably fall out of this top 5. He needs to make a smart move. The Howerton gets into the side of the 5. And contact again. The 05 is around of PJ Cox, and that's going to bring out another yellow. And Greg Spiker's involved. The 28, the 70. That one couldn't be avoided.
Race Control is going to have a busy night on their hands on the review side. At this point, cautions breed cautions, but again, I'll turn to you, Steven. You can't be making contact down in the middle of the tri-oval.
You cannot. Absolutely not. Like I said before and time again, these cars are extremely loose. On these straightaways, any sort of contact, doesn't matter where it's at, whether it be on the side of the door, in the rear quarter panel, on the rear bumper, it will cause these cars to turn around and pick them up. I don't know how much I can stress it to these drivers, but patience is key, especially going into the tri-oval and onto these straights. Just try to keep it straight, and accidents like these can be avoided.
Here's Mama T.
She's trying to get woed up. She just doesn't have anywhere to go. The whole turn 2 is clogged.
That's what we call a traffic jam.
65 on board with him here. Let's get a look at him. He's also in the same boat. He tries to avoid it, but there's the 28 of Daniels. I don't know if Daniels just breaks a little less here or what the case is. Right on board with him.
Daniels is already out of the race, by the way. This is why.
Yeah, he didn't break it all.
He didn't. He lifted way too late. He thought they were going to stay up towards the top. If that's my presumption, is that he thought they were going to stay up towards the top, slide up against the wall so he can make a clean pass through. Ultimately, just have a little bit more situational awareness and see where the cars are actually going to move. Because on these high bankings, they're not always going to go up towards the wall. They are going to come back down eventually.
It's the laws of physics. We've seen the physics be broken a couple times tonight, but I mean, that one still works.
Yeah, as far as the cars sliding around here on the iRacing service, the physics with that are pretty dialed in, and traction loss, contact, those kind of things that will send the car in certain directions. It's usually when you have a car that gets crowded too much to the barriers of the wall or makes sudden contact. That's where you'll see physics kind of do its thing, where telemetry and internet and what they call net code, all of those things come into play. But overall, the iRacing service has done a phenomenal job, especially versus any other sim that you want to throw out there. They do a phenomenal job with how these cars contact, and if you're a wrecking ball, and unfortunately I have to use that term, if you don't lift off the throttle, you are going to hit that car.
So on that note, we are at the point where it's 35 to go. Right now, we can tell you this. Based on the timer, how much is left on the timer, first of all? Well, the estimate, if we were to stay green, it'd be done in 18 minutes. Keep in mind, there was additional time added to the timer after what happened with the race coming down to time at Iowa. That being said, others are still playing the fuel game. Logan Rhodes, Dustin Buck, Benjamin Richards, Greg Pillar are the last drivers yet to pit up front in terms of this window.
I feel like.
Go ahead there.
I feel like that with the amount of cautions that they've had and not enough green flag runs, as I've said before, it's going to be beneficial for these top 5 to stay out, because if they can save as much fuel by pushing in the clutch and shutting the car off, that's going to put them further and further into this run until they are absolutely forced to go into the pits, change some tires, get some fuel, so that way they can finish out this race.
Well, I think the most beneficial thing right now is it's just finding the place to survive. We know that the race has been kind of chaotic, and I mean, you see drivers up front here that have had up and down days. The 34, the 58, the 7, the 56. Look at him finding his way up here into the top 3. Benjamin Richards, with less than 50 to go, has found his way up front. That's your pick there, Steven.
100%. As I said, he loves this track. He's very patient on this track. He usually just waits for everyone else to wreck out so he can move up towards the front. Not just saying that because I've raced with him and he said that to me. I'm just saying that because he loves this track. It is his home track. He knows it from top to bottom. And as they come off turn 4, the pace car makes a hard left into the pit road as Rhodes makes it into the Geico restart zone, and we are back green flag racing.
Great launch for Rhodes. Not a great launch up top side. Stay 2x2 for now. Give it a split second. Expected to be 3 wide at the rate they're looking yet again pretty quickly.
There comes Hodges to the bottom. I don't know if Benjamin Richards factored that 34 car in here tonight, but he's handling it well as he drives into the middle of the corner there. Good entry, and 3 wide just behind him almost for a second.
And he's got a good run coming up onto the 7. He's probably going to peek it outside, continue that run. Oh, ooh, he backed it down a little bit going into turn 1. It looked like it was going to be trouble right there for the 7.
There's the chance for the crossover, though. Richards inside. looking for his first lead of the day. Tries to give a little bit of an arc to the 7. Rhodes gives him space. Ben Richards to the point for the first time today. Will this last is a huge question. Only have more trouble in the back. PJ Cox, Logan Waterman falling down the pylon. There's the caution. The 05 and the 1 quickly jetted out from top 5 to not top 5. I wonder where the caution is if those two drop.
Yeah, I don't think we have to look far here. I think you're pretty much on point. One car gets loose coming out of 4 here. Let's see if he had a little bit of help and back it up a little more. This replay button's been getting a little bit of overtime. There's the 21 of Hurst.
Hurst just slides up the track.
From that angle, it looks like it, but did the one get loose? Let's back that up one more time.
Possibly slow it down a little bit. Take a closer look at it and not in real time. What do you think?
Line to line, line to line.
Yep, 21.
21.
21 just took him.
Unfortunately,
He had a little bit of help.
That's where the caution came out. I think Watering had done a phenomenal job of saving it, but just got that extra contact to finish it.
Yep. That John Wick mobile of Jeff Scott.
So how about this? 30 laps to go. Benjamin Richards takes over the lead. And he's had an up and down day. He's been in and out of the top 10, but never been up here in the top 5. Look at him now. With 30 to go, we'll take the green flag, about 22 to go. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm not going to do it to him. You already made me do it to Hodges. I'm not going to put him up here.
You're 3 for 3 on interviews and crashes within 5 laps.
Not having it. Not having it. Richards needs this, and I'm not going to ruin it. He'll get it after the race when he wins.
I honestly agree with you. I was going to say, bring him up. Let's say hi to him for a second. See how he's feeling. Nope. And I was even going to give him my interview.
I don't care about his feelings right now. Nope. He's going to stay focused.
I mean, you said win. I think you already just jinxed him.
No.
Probably.
I hope not. I hope not.
He's been confident. All we got to do is knock on wood. All we got to do is knock on wood.
I mean, we're getting through it together. We really are. And everybody here at VRX has been ultra courteous to us. I hope that nobody has any hard feelings about what we've said. It's just our perspective. That's what we're here for. That's why V-Speed is here. And I don't want to cause any more problems.
Well, I don't think it's that it's more so. It's to where I'm serious. In some other series, I've seen it where sometimes you bring in a person for the interview and you immediately have a crash or bring up the camera and they immediately crash. It's funny how it is like that, where it's like, hey, look, I'm on TV. Yeah. Why am I in the wall?
Yeah. It happened. Maybe it's some kind of psychological thing where you say, well, I was on TV. That now I know that camera's on me and everyone's watching. My family, my friends, anybody that's in the broadcast is here. And you forget to turn left. That's all it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyhow, I will say this. You still have your 2 front runners, Richards and Buck, who are really playing the track position game and hoping this continues to be a caution spree. Phillips and company, this could get very busy in terms of this battle for the lead because Phillips has been good mid-run. Hodges, he's been not afraid to use some contact, and Halverton, you've put him in the same boat. The Fords have not been afraid to rub a little bit of paint.
They have not. And we saw Howerton in a number of 3 wides here tonight. You think he backs out of this one if it's for the top 3?
I would think so. He's trying to think strategically to so he can get up front, get to those lead laps. But being with his history, it could be it just depends on what he wants to do. We are winding down, and it's just all up on him.
Want to go signal yet again. Remember, everybody who's pit to be good to go on fuel, starting 3rd on back. The most recent pit stops 11th on back. Logan Rhodes did come in and put on a fresh set of tires, his final set in fact. Now, is this the time where the field says, let's go green? Or is this the time where the aggression levels go from 27 out of 10 to 30 out of 10? We're about to find out. Keep in mind, Richards does still have right front damage. Is that going to impact him for the restart?
Just
Pace
depends
car.
on how he wants to go through the restart zone.
Green, 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 back underway, clearly and quickly. In turn, the battle's on for second. Oh, and they're getting a little bit blocky for third. Hodges nearly turns Buck.
That was a weird move, and I missed the camera angle on it. I apologize, but Buck just come down off the entrance of 1, and he pinned the 34 to where he could not enter that corner without lifting.
That's forced everyone to bottle back up. Phillips did get up to second. Here comes Hodges. He wants his lead back. Looking outside. Almost looks timid to get a chance to alongside the 58 after the first move.
But he's going to let him make a mistake here on the exit of 2 and get to the inside. That is his window, but it opens up the door as well.
Lead.
There it is.
Phillips alongside Richards. This is for the lead. Phillips back up front again. He looks to set sail.
Now remember, these cars are also on a little bit longer stint here in the top 2 on that restart, and Richards has 34 laps versus Phillips, who has 18. Hodges also on 18. He's trying to get back up here to the point, but Phillips for the first time today.
And look at
Snags
Jimmy
it
Sox.
away.
He's right there in the conversation too. He's looking to try to get up front as well. He's trying to peek his way around Chris Hodges as he's not going to get stuck behind. And Howerton throws it 3 wide going off of turn 4, making it around, coming up into the 5th spot as he decided to get into this conversation as well.
He knows the peel off effect. A little bit of bubbles.
3 wide. 7
All
car.
right.
50,
Here we go.
33.
The 33 got loose off the corner, trying to not hit the 7 and just ultimately lost it.
Nobody had him.
Caution flag is out. McDonald and Ellis getting the worst of it, this yellow flag. And again, you could see it coming. Just with how
33.
the 7, the
Go
trigger.
The 33 got spooked. He got spooked in the 3 wide situation. Tried to pull it up, had somebody on his outside, tried to correct it back, just ultimately lost it.
But really, the 7, Logan Rhodes, has not made too many friends with this pack today. Watch this run from him coming up to the 3 wide. Oh,
That
there's the
wasn't
spook.
really 7. Yeah, that was the spook there for
Yeah.
sure. And I saw no contact there at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no contact at all. It just scared the 33 of Paul McDonald as they did go into that 3 wide situation. He came up, tapped the 52, and ultimately lost the front end. Surprisingly, didn't take out the 52.
The initial TV live angle. Look near didn't get the contact. Sometimes drivers make that instinctual, okay, I'm going to go up a little bit while forgetting this car above them.
Let's see how John Wick handled this.
Nicely done. And then
Casey Ellis is in the wrong place at the wrong time on that.
then Casey Ellis's type of night. Whenever he's been in good spots, a car lands on top of him. What can you say? In Kansas, you have people, the tornadoes, Well, with the Golden Brick Road, you have houses land on top of you. Sometimes at Kansas Speedway, you have cars.
I like that. That was actually pretty good. All right, so back to seriousness mode. I don't know where we are from here. Jimmy Sox takes over the lead. Logan Rhodes is up here. I don't think they're going to give an EOL for that. Maybe to the guy.
Yep.
But
well, here's the thing. Why are these the leaders? Here's the thing. It was fuel only for Hodges, Richards, and company. They just took their final sets there. Howerton, Buck, everybody else. So Freshies 8th on back.
yeah, I mean, are they the leaders? I don't know. Because now you have 10, 15 cars that you have to pass to get back there.
Well, in their case, they need to just pass 7. And one of them was just in the crash.
Yeah.
One of them was just in the crash. One of them was in the last crash. And the next 3 might be the biggest obstacle here, at least to me, Steven, because there's only a tiny difference. Those are the cars who took tires last caution, or in the case of Fiddler, a fuel only to get track position. So really, it's Pillar and Rhodes, the biggest obstacles for the lead.
It's just depending on how they want to run it. If they run it aggressive, then more issues are going to arise. If they run it smart, they could possibly conserve their tires going into these corners, laying it down into the bottom lane. But in all seriousness, sorry, it's just a waiting game, really.
We get another caution. Sorry, we get another caution. We're going to be dwindling down to less than 10 to go. So that's a tight window for these guys to get those spots back.
Yeah, we're down to under 19 to go, in fact, now. All tires up front. Jimmy Sucks in particular. Logan Rose pit last caution for a tire set. Greg Miller did the same. Fiddler, he topped off last caution. So it's inclusive on how old the tires may be on that 66. McDonald, he's on old rubber. He last pit 23 laps ago. Waterburn, he had 43 seconds of repairs from his incident. Casey Ellis, he didn't pit from the incident that just happened. Everybody else has used their tires, looks to use them wisely. This could determine a lot of the implications the rest of the way. It's been a race of shuffles, crashes, pit strategy, fuel strategy, how many tires you have, and how clean is your race car. It's Jimmy Sox's turn to lead the field. Green, 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 back on her way. And a great start for the 7.
He matched him there. He didn't beat him to the line. I think he's okay.
A little 3-wide action going into turn 1 as Fiddler's trying to block up top, which I think he's just trying to get out of the way of the cars that are faster underneath them, as they're still 3-wide going into turn 2. This could get hairy.
Trying to sort himself out. Richards trying to clear himself. Ooh. Nearly turns himself across the 1. 3 wide, make it 2 wide. The battle now for 3rd.
3 wide coming across the stripe.
Oh, Richards got into him.
That's Pillar down to the inside, and here we go. Caution, and it's a big one. Half the field is in it.
And we're in 10 laps to go territory. Oh. Waterman's out for the night. I believe Hurst is out for the night. That's unfortunate for your points leader coming into tonight. Oh boy.
Only in
Let's put that
Kansas.
up on the screen here.
And remember, he was your points leader. That's the reason you look at the points there. This is absolutely going to change the standings. Hodges, he's in, even with everything that's happened, might become your points leader here. Britton, take him out. James Wagoner. I am not sure at this point with what Wagoner's situation is going to be. You can't even turn the car here. There's nothing to turn. There's nothing to turn.
Yeah, he's going to have to park it. That's unfortunate for Hurst.
And race control ruled that incident as a net code incident, and no penalty is going to be put out on the 56 or on the 90.
Whoa. We went back in time tremendously there. It was still daylight.
Oh boy.
Well, that...
yeah. Let's see if ATVO wants to cooperate with me here. Let's try this one more time, huh?
There we go.
Oh, backed it up too far, but I think we might try it one more time. What's happening behind him here? All right, there we go. We're in the ballpark.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 90's the trigger. Because, you know, the physics model of what comes up must come down. In this case, if you're going too fast coming off the flat, what comes down the track must eventually come back into traffic.
Right in front of Hodges, and there's the blown engine for the 90. 21 of Hurst. Let's see on board here with the 34 car. You got a piece of it. 52 is involved as well. Whatever happened there after the fact, I think it's because Hurst couldn't drive the car, had no suspension left, and Watering got rear-ended after that. But after that backup where we time traveled, that's going to put us, as far as time traveling goes, we're going to have 10 to go here.
Yeah.
Close to it. And Logan Rhodes now gets to be the leader with all this happening. But Chris Phillips might have the best opportunity here. Ben Richards even is up to 4th. Those are the drivers that are on some of the freshest tires here. This could get wild yet again if it hasn't already gotten wild.
Yeah, it's gotten... We've went past 10 for sure here tonight. And with the action that you've seen in previous races, I think after tonight, we're going to have a lot of people losing friends over this race. I don't know what post-race looks like here at VRX, but I would like to be a fly on the wall for it.
Honestly, how I'm looking at it right here is that with Jimmy Sox being in the 2nd position and having Ben Richards right behind him, they're both teammates. You never know, they could be a possibility for a factor that they could work together to try to get around Rhodes and take over the lead. Who knows what their plan is going to be.
You got the tires as a factor here. Richards now 8 laps on the stint, so he's on the flip side of what we had originally. He's on point for a podium, but let's not give him the commentator's curse here, and let's look at this top 3 with Rhodes, Sox, and Phillips. Big implications for the points and the 21 car out of the race. We have 25 cars still left on the racetrack, and we have 13 of those still on the lead lap. Logan Rhodes into turn 1. Green flag's going to come back out. Let's see if we can finish this thing out with 11 laps to go as they cross the line. Pace cars down, and here we go, back green at Kansas.
A terrible restart for Jimmy Sox off that. Benjamin Richards not able to get the run that he anticipated as he's falling like a rock.
3
Bad
wide
restart
yet again.
there.
Richards, that is not what he needed. Yes, indeed. Already back to the 10th position after being in prime position. If he was able to hold on to said track position. Now the battle focus has to go to the lead, though, because Phillips, he's within a 10. He's within the door. He's at the numbers, side by side for the lead.
And it looks like Phillips going to be leading that lap.
58 car down off the apron. What's going to happen here? He comes back up into Spiker. They stay green.
And they keep it green is the huge question. Coming to 10 laps to go. Rhodes is not backing down. He's been involved in a lot tonight. Hodges, he wants his lead back yet again. He's trying to get himself sorted around McDonald. He does. Next up is Jimmy Sox, still side by side for the point.
Don't count Jimmy Sox out right there. He is going to be a factor in this, whether or not he can be patient enough to try to get around the 7 or the 6 if they do make a mistake.
Still equal footing to the corner. Phillips trying to force him up a little bit. Rhodes better on the top side down the straightaways. Phillips has that advantage for the corners. Now
Green wide going across the stride with Benjamin Richards on the bottom, going around Hodges and with Paul McDonald on the top as they sort it out going into the back corner.
More bobbles, and this is not great for Hodges. Remember, he had the front nose contact originally. Phillips, though, is clear for the lead. Sox is going for second. He hits the side of the 7 as Phillips looks to run.
Here comes Benjamin as he locks up with his teammates. Who knows, they might be able to get a good run off it as they make their wing in turn 1.
This is going to be the chance that Phillips has been waiting for to be able to get himself away from the pack. Coming up now to 7 laps to go. McDonald sending a large send outside of the backdrop. That's for 4th. With Richards inside. Richards with the better line. And now, all of a sudden, Richards is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack here, Bradley, coming up towards 6 laps to go. He needs to find a place, and fast he gets loose.
I've been locked in here. I didn't want to mention anything, but he's into the wall there coming out of 4. And Hodges gets by for the 4th position. Phillips has about 7 laps to go, 6 laps to go as they cross the line. Oh, in contact with the 7 Rhodes. The 01 of Sox gets into the back of him, and now Hodges and Richards into the wall again off the exit. Side by side.
The more they fight for second, the more this allows Phillips to run. On board with Richards.
He needs to back up those corners a little more.
He nearly backed himself down. Absolutely clipping that fender with 5 laps to go.
Does anybody have anything for Chris Phillips here? 56 gets around for the 4th position. Hard battling outside the top 3. Can Richards get the podium finish that he was talking so confidently about? He's got the guys in front of him to do it here, side by side for 2nd position. If Hodges wants any chance, he has to make quick work of Rhodes.
Hodges able to get around the 7 machine. 4 laps to go, coming to 3. He needs to be able to gain more than a 1/10, maybe 2/10 a lap to have a true shot for the lead. Still car on the bottom, that was the 1. We still stays green for now. Hodges needs to close. He's losing ground as there's a look at the 05 for 7th.
Contact!
Here we go. Rhodes in the wall. Richards moving the 7 up the track. We stay green. Rhodes still trying to keep it going as he's on the splitter.
He's got a right front toast.
He needs to get to the pit lane quickly. Speaking of quickly, Hodges gained 3/10 this lap. Down to 2 laps to go. Hodges uses the bottom of the racetrack. Phillips preferring the middle of the top line. Can Hodges get there? He's knocking on the door. Needs to get alongside if he wants a shot. This time matching the lines as they come out down the front straightaway. White flag waits up in the stand. Final time around, it's the white flag presented by VRX Simulators. Hodges, he's within a car length of a chance to send it. Phillips stays top side. Hodges goes down to the bottom, tries to get the diamond down.
Doesn't look like he's having anything for him. Let's see it into 3 and 4 as he dives back to the bottom again. Gets the nose in there. Off of the final corner, they're going to touch fingers there briefly, but the 6 car has the run off of the front stretch. It's going to be Phillips for the win. Chris Phillips is victorious here tonight at Kansas.
Chris Phillips able to hold off the late charge by Hodges. Richards, Cox, and Sox. Once your top 5 towards the stripe. A great finish. It took a lot of attrition to get there, but Phillips, he was the second best for much of the day. At the end, he's the best to close out the run in the race. Steven, I think you're speechless.
I am. Really, Dingy was just way too aggressive. Fried his tires way too late into this run. Just made too many mistakes. He just got a little too excited, and ultimately it cost him the lead and the win. He still made a podium finish, so hats off to him, and great win for Chris. He's had a fantastic race, been on and off a little bit, really. He's had been involved with a few incidences. Ultimately, great job to Chris.
Now let's give our butt kicker biggest mover award to the most positions gained post-race. 20 spots. Edward Fiddler still got a top 10 despite everything that happened to the 66 tonight. Including a fender that flew across the banking in 3 and 4 at one point. Congratulations to 66, your biggest mover, said by butt kicker. Post-race interviews and your final results returned here on V-Speed. You're watching the VRX World Cup. We'll be back after messages from our sponsors.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to V-Speed for coverage. It's VRX World Cup. The cautions, definitely break cautions tonight here at Kansas. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results for the Addison Bridges 225. Fourth race of the season had a lot of different leaders and a lot of faster pairs, but as 17 cautions flew, Chris Phillips took the victory. Flip the page one more time here.
Back that up.
As Phillips, Hodges, Richards, Cox, and Sox, your top 5. Howardson, McDonald, followed by Buck, Ellis, and Fiddler. Or amongst your top 10 here this evening here, Bradley.
Well, the spot's going to go to Greg Spiker. Logan Rhodes in the 12th position. Maggioni's going to get 13th with Wagoner in 14th position. Pillar 15th. Logan Water in 16th. Scott in 17th tonight. Brian Henning is going to finish in 18th. Kowski 19th. And Arison is going to round out the top 20.
When we first go into Collins, he was a part of the many DNFs today. Chivers, then you have Mulcahy, Hurst, then you have Teresa Spiker 22 laps down. Daniels finished 26th. Gunter in 27th. Hudson, Evans, and Brennan, your top 30. Hunter, Aguilar, and Epker had very early exits. And what was a night that was filled with a lot of crunches.
That night, we do get to announce our top 3, and down on pit road, we have our commentator of the night, Stephen Brown. He's down there with our third place finisher, Benjamin Richards, here in the third spot.
Hello, motherfucker.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, I thought I had that turned off.
Benjamin, fantastic race. I'll admit I had you to win for this race because you were most comfortable here at Kansas Motor Speedway. You have said that time and time again. Tell us how the last part of the race went for you.
Oh my God, that I just kept it to the floor, man. I mean, I'm sorry to the number 7. It in my screen it looked like he was trying to block me and chop my nose. I apologize for getting into him. But I had to go for it. I mean, you know, I really did at that point.
100%. And just watching you race, we did notice that you did kick out a little bit off the corners. Were you just running it too hard going into the corners, or were you just way too excited to try to get back up to the front?
On that last restart, I messed up. I went from second to first, realized it, went back to third, and people were passing me. Thank God no one hit me. Thank God I didn't cause an incident. And I just had fresher tires and had go for it. And yes, I was pushing it. I was overdriving it.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your third place finish, Benjamin. Hopefully it goes good next for you. It goes good for you next week whenever we hit Watkins Glen. Are you excited for it?
I'm excited to race at the Glen. I expect to be dead last there, but you know, I'm up for anything.
All right. And again, with your third place finish, congratulations. We'll let you go back up with the rest of the team, and hopefully we can see you at Watkins.
Can I give a couple shout outs real quick?
By all means, go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Austin Bridges, this run was for you, buddy. You know who you are. Second of all, Stephen Aguiar, thank you for all the coaching. Bill Stringfellow also. Mama T Racing, American Sheepdog Racing, Paul McDonald for the paint job, and VRX, thank you. And all the drivers, thank you. And the fans, you know, without you, we wouldn't be doing this. And also, my wife, Tony Richards. I have to thank her for letting me do this. And V-Speed. Watch them.
We appreciate your time there, Benjamin Richards, and congratulations on the third place finish. We'll see you next week at Watkins Glen, buddy.
Thank you. And Bradley, I told you I'd earn my interview.
Yeah, you got up here. You got up here. We got to hear the voice. Benjamin Richards, third place tonight. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut him off there. I thought, my bad, my bad. We made it memorable. Well, he'll remember that forever. We didn't give him the curse of the camera. That's the important thing. But we caught up with your second place finisher of the night. It's Christopher Hodges in the number 34, and I don't know how many times we got to talk to you post race outside of first place here. When, oh when, you get these poles, man, it's so tough to finish second.
Yeah, sorry, I can't think right now. It's been a struggle, but second place isn't too bad, especially from the mistake I made about with 60 to go. So being able to rebound from that says a lot, and there was a lot of guys around me in points that had a lot of problems today. So to take a second, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I'd like to win, but you do what you can, and had another lap went by, I may have got him, but yeah.
I know you led a lot of laps tonight. You were 62 laps led. You started up front. You were up there for most of it. And with the cycles of pit strategy and a lot of the cautions here tonight, it made it really difficult to stay on top of it. I was kind of questioning what your strategy was. You didn't let the cat out of the bag during your mid-race interview, but did it go to plan the way you thought it would?
Well, not really. Didn't expect to use my fast repair on lap 90, but that was around when I was going to go try to pit just to make it in the final window and then see how it all played out. And the 20 to go, like it happened, I was able to make my way in pit, and then just get my way back up to the field. So it wasn't too bad. Not how the strategy, not the strategy that I hoped for, but it's just how it goes sometimes.
We saw you peek to the inside there on that final turn, on that final lap. It was a close finish here tonight, but again, congratulations on second position, Chris. I know you got him. Go ahead and shout him out.
Yep, parents as always. I'd like to shout out Mama T. She really is one of the people in VRX that really keep this whole trainer running. So definitely happy with that, and just like to thank all the sponsors we have: Butt Kicker, VRX, Carbe DM Designs. Yeah, just and thankful for you guys as well, and everybody I race around. Definitely plenty of respect to go around.
We thank you for your time, Chris, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Watkins Glen, where we're going to turn right for a change, and we'll see how you perform next week.
Yep, thank you.
Second place finisher of the night, Christopher Hodges in the number 34 Loves Machine here at Kansas. And finally, we have it down in Victory Lane, where Justin Prince has caught up with the number 6 car. The first time interview, it's Chris Phillips down there with Justin.
Yes, indeed, Chris. You came into tonight as the highest ranking of drivers who haven't made every race. You've been in the top 5 every race you have been in. And now you're in Victory Lane in just your third start of the season. Talk to us about what it was from the cockpit viewpoint and what was a extremely wild night with 17 cautions at Kansas.
Yeah, it was definitely a good night to start up front. It was finally good. Last couple of races, I've had start in the back and work my way to the front, but definitely a good night to be out front. And I don't know where I'd be if I had to start back there. It was definitely a lot of cautions.
How tricky was it to make the passes for the lead, though? Because it took a few attempts after the first time you took the lead, it seemed, to really get a rhythm.
Yeah, that 7 had the outside there. Logan, man, he was giving me all he could. He had like, I don't know, maybe 10 lap more on his tires, and he could still hang with me on the outside. But I knew if I just keep on hanging that inside corner that he'd finally the tires would show up, and they did. And once I got out front, can enter at the angles I wanted to. There wasn't no stopping me there at the end, and it was nice to win here at my home track, man. I'm from Missouri, and it's nice to get the W here.
Hometown wins and home track wins, very critical to say the very least, to be able to get some rhythm. But the next race is a road course. That leads to the big question. How up to snuff are you when it comes to going left and right?
Not so good, but I've been working on a lot. I've been actually practicing Watkins Glen this whole past week, so I don't feel too bad about it. As long as I get out there with a top 10, I think I'll be all right. That Daytona race I missed kind of hurt, but it is what it is. I'm happy with the race tonight, and I think my boy was watching tonight. So what's up, Bryce? And my wife was watching. Love you, Paige. Man, it was just a good night.
Any shout you like to give for the victory tonight?
Just my boy and my wife, man. It was a good night. On to Watkins Glen.
Chris Phillips coming away in the top 3 and with the victory in turn. 20 laps led. He gets the job done here at Kansas. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on V-Speed. Remember, the next time out, as talked about with the drivers, March 1st, Watkins Glen, 50 laps on the docket at Watkins Glen International. 9 p.m. start time for VRX World Cup action here on V-Speed. Bradley, Steven, tonight was a ride.
Yeah, it was something. I mean, we kind of go back to, well, aggression. That's really what it boiled down to. And overall, it wasn't a bad race. We saw a lot of lead changes, but we saw a lot of cautions. I'm sure after this week, going into Watkins Glen, where we're talking about turning right, some of these drivers turn right tonight, so maybe they'll fit in just fine. I don't know what the case may be, but overall, I know without full course cautions, these drivers are going to pay a lot more, so we might see them be more cautious when we come to the road course. But overall, it's been a fun night. I hope you guys enjoyed it here at Kansas Speedway. If you did enjoy tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on V-Speed so you never miss a single race as we bring you flag-to-flag coverage all season long. Here at the VRX World Cup Series, they've concluded their 150 laps and 225 miles for the Addison Bridges 225. But for everybody at V-Speed, Adam Baker, behind the scenes doing what he does, Eddie Smith, our other producer, and Morgan Cook, a huge thanks goes out to our commentator Justin Prince and Stephen Brown joining us in the booth tonight. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Cabot,
Where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it on.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.